Hey everybody, today we're debating whether or not men today are more wimpy, and we are starting right now with the yes side, in particular, Zherka. Thanks for being with us. The floor is all yours.
Okay, so hey guys, Zherka here, and today we're talking about are men in 2023 wimpy? I mean, this goes without saying. There's like every single meme on the internet is related to this topic. Are men, like, let's just look at men coming out of high school. What are we seeing? Is dudes with butt plugs and furry tails, Zoomers that are furries, letting their girlfriends get fucked by other men. They're getting pegged. And this is like a common thing. They're getting pegged to impress their girlfriend that's not even theirs. I mean, they have an open relationship as they're exploring their gayness. And most of these guys aren't even gay. They're just trending. They're just going with the trend. And there's this softness to it where it's like, you don't really see like 1950s macho men anymore. You see this kind of like Hunter Avallone, mainstream media, Masonic media program, I would call them neo-males, where it's like all they want to do is play StarCraft and they don't ever lift weights. They don't do anything manly. They don't ever like protect their tribe. They don't fight for their woman. You see their women on subways getting beaten up and they do nothing about it. And then you also look into the gynocentric world that we're in and how in media, corporate finance, every level of society, they promote this feminization of men. You see Gillette commercials too. They know 80% of the consumer market, the women hold the credit cards. So they make even feminine Gillette razor commercials directed towards more feminine type people because they know the world is changing. This whole, just to be masculine now is considered toxic. It's actually crazy. And they're giving us all these quotas and they're trying to push from top down. They're trying to make this whole, women can do it too. Men and women are kind of equal and women can definitely join the military, but we're not going to make them do like 5 fucking pull-ups. They don't have to do any pull-ups to just join. And so when you lower the standards for women to make it more equal with men, because men are smarter and stronger than women in every single way, on average, it's like, of course you're going to see men lack masculinity when you don't incentivize for it. Also, I think it's something in the water too, in the food. Somebody's making these, like, Hunter Avallone is having some kind of fluoride water every day that made him go from right-wing trans hater, right, like the good old days, to, and I think that was bad. I think he was a very evil person for hating the trans community back in his day. But now he's like had enough of that soy, Florida atrazine water. Now Hunter's become this, I'll let anyone bang my wife type attitude. I don't know if he does that, but he's definitely on board with people being in open relationships and acting totally feminine. And it's like, when you think of your most confident moments in life, it was when you were the most masculine. When you think of the moments in your life where you had the least depression, anxiety, despair, it was when you were the most masculine. But now they're encouraging us to be little wimps, and it's kind of stupid that we're pretending, well, maybe it's not out there. The question is not, have men become wimpy? It's the real question is why? Because we all agree they've become very wimpy, especially since World War II, when men were men. But yeah, I'll give it off to someone else and make America great again.
All right. Am I next? Or how does it go?
Yeah, you're next, Alex.
All right, cool. So I figured it would be very appropriate for me to wear my hardcore Russian hat, which I got for filming a video that we're going to do pretty soon. We're going to pick up girls as a Russian spy. But I think this is very appropriate for the topic. I'm going to keep my speech very short. I'm going to make 3 points why I think men are definitely wimpier today, and I think several of them are very objective. First of all, testosterone levels are lower than they've ever been for the average male. This is scientifically undeniable. They've done tests on this. And on average, men have very low testosterone levels now compared to what they used to have. Testosterone is directly correlated to just roughly how manly you are. Of course, it's not the only metric, but definitely plays a role. You take a guy who has very low testosterone, he's going to be less manly than the guy who has higher testosterone. That's the first metric. The second metric is the incel rates. They're just way higher than they've ever been. We're at about 25% of men under 30 report being never having had sex, right? Back in the day, in 2008, I think it used to be like 8%. So so men are not having sex, right? Which, again, because a lot of women are not finding them attractive, the testosterone levels are lower. And the third metric, this one may sound somewhat subjective, but every single girl I've ever interviewed, which is dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, have all said the same thing. Men today are becoming wimpier. They're not manly enough. You know, I like a guy who's masculine. A lot of these guys are not that masculine, and that's what's turning off. That's why I'm single, blah, blah, blah. So I'm coming at it from a anecdotal perspective and also from a scientific perspective why men are definitely wimpier today. That's basically all I have to say. Now I can take off my Russian hat.
You got it. Thank you very much for that opening. We are going to kick it over to the no side as well. But if it's your first time here at Modern Day Debate, want to let you know, folks, we're glad you're here no matter what walk of life you are from, as well as, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. We have many more debates coming up here at Modern Day Debate. And with that, thank you very much to the no side for being with us. The floor is all yours, Hunter.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, thanks so much for having me on here. So I know I'm on the no side of things, but I'm kind of more or less in the middle side of things. I do think that it really comes down to how you're defining wimp. So if you look at the definition of wimp, right, it just means an ineffectual, cowardly, and weak man. So weak, if we're talking about physical strength, similar to what Alex said, yes, then if we're going to measure wimpiness based on physical strength, then men nowadays are definitely wimpy.
You want to see weak. Try the mirror.
Okay.
This is our
Hunter
opening
to do his
statement,
opening
Zherka.
as well.
Calm your tits, buddy.
Well, it's okay, Zherka. I know the estrogen levels are probably peaking over there, causing you to act all sorts of catty and bitchy and whatnot, but we'll get to that in a minute. What I was getting at a minute ago was just that what Alex said is that the testosterone levels are going down. They are lower than ever before, and that's true, partially because the type of employment that men are engaged in now does not require as much physical strength. So testosterone being as high as it was isn't actually as needed as much. Incel rates, though, another good example. I also think, though, that a lot of men are quote unquote wimpy and cowardly because they are socialized to specifically be cowardly of themselves in a way. This idea that you need to suppress your feelings or suppress emotions is cowardly, ultimately. It might not intuitively seem that way, but it really is. It is cowardly to run away from real emotions that you are experiencing, and rather than dealing with it in a healthy way, try and just suppress it because you might make your crush a little bit turned off when she sees you getting sad. Like, that's the
she might
cowardly
leave
approach
you
to go.
forever.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's worse.
much better
She
to
might leave you
instead
forever.
just know. Zherka, chill, my friend. Again, it's much better to recognize your emotions, recognize the time and the place to express those emotions, and recognize the situation, obviously, and act appropriately. The last thing I'll say is Zherka actually brought up how nowadays masculinity is called toxic. And I've talked a lot about toxic masculinity. Specifically, I will concede right away that there are quite a lot of dumb cucks on Twitter who, yes, they will say anytime a man does anything they don't like, it's toxic masculinity. But toxic masculinity, what that's really referring to is a collection of social expectations placed on men that are actually harmful to men. Specifically, hey, you're a man, so you shouldn't cry or you shouldn't be showing these emotions. So in Zherka, you bring up the 1950s macho men aren't really around that much. I don't know if that's that much of a problem, because a lot of those guys, although maybe they gave the appearance of masculinity and physical strength, were emotional wrecks. They were abusive towards their wives. They were overall pieces of shit. This is not necessarily the type of masculinity that I think we should be going back to. So long story short, are men nowadays wimpier? I definitely think if we're talking physical strength, yes. If we're talking emotionally, I think that we're headed in a good direction where men are able to be less cowardly when it comes to dealing with their emotions. Unfortunately, we're not quite there yet. So there's still a lot of socialization in regards to men being wimpy.
Thanks for that. We'll kick it to Ashley before we go into the open dialogue.
Howdy, howdy, hi. I'm Ashley, not your everyday Ashley, XOXO. Being the only female on this panel, I will just go with my take on this, obviously. I believe that masculinity nowadays is kind of defined by women, right? Arguably, if a man were to be his natural self, he'd be what? More sexual, observant, aggressive, decisive, physically strong, competitive, successful at work, blah, blah, blah. The same traits now, though, are being displayed by females, and it's being considered empowering. So I don't know that it's necessarily that men are becoming more wimpy. It's just that they're actually having to match women, basically. I think that that's where this whole argument comes from. And then if we want to talk about wimpy or AKA masculine, right, you would say that like really the definition of masculinity, there's not like it's very broad. It's just saying considered to be characteristics of men, marked or having qualities, features, etc., traditionally associated with being men, right? So I guess my main stance would just be that it's not that men are becoming more wimpy and less masculine. It's that the world is evolving, and there is a certain group or sector of men that are having trouble keeping up and evolving with them. Because whereas used to, they could be mediocre. Now they actually have to be better than mediocre because more women are able to be better than mediocre. Okay, so the playing level and the bar has been risen, and you guys just have to kind of catch up. Another thing Zherka said about like, oh, well, there's so many men that love, he likes to talk about relationship styles, cucking and sexual preferences, being pegged, etc. I would argue that actually since the dawn of humanity, there's been a lot of hidden homosexual tendencies in men. I think that a huge thing, reason why this is becoming more prevalent or like known now is it's just simply technology. It's social media. It's the fact that we have all these videos and people and vlogs and YouTube stories available on the internet. It's becoming more normalized, but it's always actually been a thing. I'm sorry that threatened your masculinity, though. And I guess that would just be my biggest, my kind of take on that. I'll pass it off.
You got it. With that, we're going to jump into the open dialogue. Do want to say, folks, as mentioned, glad that you're here at Modern Day Debate. We are a neutral platform hosting debates on science, religion, and politics. We hope you feel welcome no matter what walk of life. And the table is set. Let's get to the main course.
Zherka, do you mind if I go first?
I unmuted you, Zherka. So, Zherka, you should be able to, I'll click unmute again, just so you're able to unmute yourself, and that way you'll be able to talk. I will mute if everybody's talking over each other.
Zherka, do you mind if I go first? I have a pretty good...
Not at all. Destroy these fucking clowns.
Okay. All right, so first of all, this is a little bit of a random side point, but it's an important one. So, Hunter, you said that testosterone lowers your physical strength. That is true, but it doesn't only affect your physical strength. It affects your overall mental well-being. If you have low testosterone, you are less likely to be confident and assertive. Will you agree with me on that?
I mean, if we're talking about like dangerously low levels, then yeah, that's fair. But if we're talking about like what's happening here, which is just a steady decrease of testosterone, that's much more so because of employment.
Well, that's not necessarily true, but we're talking about the difference between a testosterone level of between like an average of 700 and 300. 300 would be not considered like dangerously low, you're going to die, but it is twice as low. And men who go on testosterone replacement therapy, and me being one of them, report that afterwards that you do feel more confident, you do feel more assertive, you do feel more grounded, right? That's just a very common knowledge for anyone who's ever taken testosterone.
Because it's natural for men to have higher levels of testosterone than women, okay? But when you say strong and confident, et cetera, what does that have to do necessarily with masculinity, though?
Because
I think you're mainly talking about like your sex drive and energy.
No, I'm not. Because if we could show that testosterone is directly related to your confidence and assertiveness, and we can show that testosterone is lower now than it's ever been.
Well, you can look that up. I'm not as concerned about that because if you're going to say that, hey, testosterone levels are naturally decreasing with every generation, this can be leading to men being less assertive, which can be detrimental, then that's fine. That's a conversation to be had. And again, I never really contested this even. I mean, yeah, the testosterone levels are going down. And if you're telling me it has...
thing?
Well, hold on. I'm saying if you're telling me it has...
No, you got to take a hard stance here. Is that a bad thing?
No, I don't need to take a hard stance. I'm trying to finish my first point here. So hold on a moment.
Here we go.
What I'm saying is that if the testosterone levels are getting down to a place, again, where it's not healthy, then we can talk about that. But I never disagreed that testosterone levels are dropping. And if you're telling me they have problems with, or it can cause issues with mental well-being, then we should talk about that as well.
But that's
like,
directly related to the argument. If
But
testosterone
what does
is
this have to, so what can we do to change that then, specifically?
how can we change it for men? Well, largely for men, it involves their diet and their sleep and their physical routine, right? But
So encouraging people to go exercise more, we would agree on that one.
right. I mean, exercise is a small part of it, but that's we're getting off to a side tangent. I'm trying to prove a point that men today are wimpier than they were back in the day, and the evidence I'm using for that is the fact that it's beyond dispute that men have lower testosterone levels, and it's also beyond dispute that testosterone is directly related to your confidence. So if you have lower confidence because of your hormones, you are going to be more wimpy. Is that not so?
Do you not think that though hormone levels in men and women are actually both?
Well, why don't we just look at? Why don't we look at?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's not.
Thank you, lady. Thank you for that. Why don't we look at? Maybe it's anecdotal, but let's look at Hunter. When he started YouTube, he was filled with testosterone, and then it slowly kind of just.
Why do you always go down to these like weird insults? You realize when I started YouTube, people.
Because he only likes to make arguments.
Well, when I started YouTube,
that's actually the only compliment I'll ever get.
Not actually intelligent.
When I started YouTube, people made fun of me for looking like an anorexic twink.
Like, but you didn't.
No one said I had. No one said I looked
masculine.
I've never been a particularly masculine-looking guy, but I think that this is almost a side point.
Hunter, you didn't have. When you started YouTube, you didn't have like a defeated feminine temperament. You used to actually speak different, sound different. Yeah, it was actually like it's like night and day.
I had no idea. I had no idea
that
you were
never
such a fan.
got laid, Zherka, and then you started deciding to implement toxic masculine talk into your game, and then
it's almost like I took Hunter's fucking testosterone. Because I became more, you became a lot.
Every time we have these conversations with these red pill people, and you guys are so obsessed with masculinity, you inevitably end up saying something really gay sounding. It's always hilarious. But again, let's try.
Where was the gay thing? Where I missed
by saying you took away my testosterone. I don't know. It just sounded a little bit. It could have some innuendos there.
And you're obsessed with getting pegged and like weird fucking things.
No, but Hunter, you're a perfect example.
Let's stop with the dick measuring contest
here,
because
when you were successful, right, and a Republican,
I'm going to give you a quick chance to finish on, and then we do have to go over to Hunter.
Something in Hunter's psyche changed. Like maybe
you swallowed the load of my testosterone.
I know what it was, Hunter.
You were on your knees.
Your wife softened you up.
It was when you were on your knees.
Your wife turned you
into
a Democrat, right, Hunter?
My wife, actually, no, not at all. That's another really.
She had no influence living with her.
Can
we actually get back on topic?
Yeah,
we're going to go back to Hunter. I got to give him a chance.
No, one in the chat is Hunter's the perfect example.
I had no idea that Zherka was such a big fan or former fan. I'm sorry that I let you down, my friend.
Yeah, no, I used to love you when you
Let's hear from Hunter. I got to put you on mute so Hunter can make his case. Go ahead, Hunter.
A better question that I would love to ask Zherka is specifically, does he believe that there are any forms of expectations regarding masculinity that could result in harm to the man? Does he think that's a thing?
No, I don't think masculinity can ever be harmful to the male. Ever. Even if your wife gets slapped on the subway by some, let's say a white guy, right? Diversity is our greatest strength, right? Someone slaps your wife and you go and fight these guys and they beat the shit out of you. 4 guys beat. That level of masculinity you displayed still was not harmful to you. It still was healthier to get your ass whooped and move and act than to be like, according to my calculations, I lost this fight.
Zherka, what if you get murdered?
That's not what I.
Suicide rates among men
That
in
has
the
nothing
era
to.
that
That
we're
was not.
talking about.
Yeah, no. Also,
the era of men being great, the suicide rates are the highest. How about
This is why I
that?
feel like people think Zherka's a troll, though, is because it's like.
He is a troll. He's a self-admitted one, actually.
I'm not a troll here.
Yes, you are. You admitted it. I listened to you say it many times.
Lady and Hunter, I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I swear to God, you both know you guys adopt retard positions. You know your liberal thinking is retarded.
You're so emotional today, my friend. I'm so sorry, dude.
I thought we were actually going to have a debate. I didn't realize this was just going to be
all you guys that Zherka's skyrocketing testosterone would surely amount to a
fine masculinity. I just don't know what masculinity.
All right, can I redirect? Can I redirect?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys, and then we will restart. We haven't heard from Alex. If you got a point you'd like to make, I'm happy to have you. Otherwise, we haven't heard from.
Yeah,
Ashley for a
yeah.
while
It's actually a question for Ashley. Ashley, what percentage of men that you've met up with in the last, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years would you say we're not masculine enough to turn you on? Just give me your, like, honest answer.
She hasn't had a man in years.
Oh, Ashley's had a few guys.
I've got to give. Go ahead, Ashley.
Okay. What percentage, I guess? I know you love your percentages, Alex. I don't know exactly how to give a percentage.
Just
what, I
ballpark.
don't know exactly what you mean. Met up with, like, from online dating.
That you thought were, yes, men that you met up with from online dating that you thought were too feminine. They didn't turn you on. They weren't dominant enough.
Probably half and half, 50-50.
Okay, that's a pretty good amount, right? 1 out of 2 guys is too feminine to turn you on.
Yeah, I guess. See, I see what you're doing, but you'd have to, like, define feminine. I don't know that I would say it's feminine or that he had characteristics or traits I didn't like. Yeah.
Well, it seems like your initial response was 50% when I said feminine, right? Or when I said not masculine.
Well, that's because you and I know each other really well, and I know what you mean by feminine versus masculine, arguably. But I'm just saying, like, for the sake of the debate.
Yeah, can we define the terms? How about this, okay? And
I did in my opening statement.
Well, you're wrong. You have CNN.
No, it was from the fucking internet. From
your CNN definitions are wrong.
No, it's Webster's.
Hunter, what percentage?
Railing because me and Zherka were actually in an interesting.
Wait, Hunter, I have a quick question for you. What percentage of men do you think are too feminine to turn a woman on? If you had to take a guess, Ashley thinks it's about 50%.
80%. 80%.
I would put it around 70 or 82.
Would have a better answer for you for.
Well, but no, but I know what Zherka thinks about this.
Zherka, how many men would you willingly swallow a load of their testosterone for?
I don't want my career to go like yours, so I'm not joining the gay side.
Are they particularly masculine or feminine men?
Your career.
But
I mean, like
Zherka said, you don't
Hunter, hold on. While you're being cute, why don't you admit living with your wife made you a Democrat?
Well, do you want me to
admit it?
that?
Just admit it. That's the only missing variable. Admit how you fucked up.
You have like a strange fetish to hear me say that, or do you want to
lie?
He's gotta go out of the country to get a wife.
Hold on, I hate to do this.
Is this his wife?
We have too many.
Are you his wife?
He's gonna get a mail.
I enjoy muting all of you sometimes, but what I'm going to do is, just to be sure we have some order, let's go to either Hunter or Alex, just because. Do it down. Okay, so here we go. 3, 2, 1. Alex or Hunter, do you have a preference?
I can go first, I guess, unless Hunter has something that he really wants to say. I was actually going to, it's another thing I wrote down. Oh, wait.
Oh, that's right. So I just clicked on you.
Yeah, I'm good now. Yeah, actually, this is another thing I wrote down while Hunter was giving his opening statement. So I think you're making a bit straw man argument of what it means not to be wimpy. And the way you respond is like, well, it's not a good thing that men are now feel like they have to hide their emotions. But at least not me. That's not what I think it means to be masculine, right? I think it's more about having courage. It's being not afraid to go for what you want. In a date setting, that would mean not being afraid to kiss the girl or not being afraid to lead, which is something that women desperately say that they want more. They want guys who are more confident, more assertive, who are more leading.
They want guys not even who are just.
I'm so sorry. I genuinely didn't hear that.
I'm going to disagree with my own
Just to build on what Alex said there is, you're right, actually, that women do want a degree of confidence, whatever, and they also want a degree of emotional connection that a lot of guys lack.
Women want a 2016 Hunter Avallone.
They're oftentimes unable to. Did I break your heart, Zherka? Are you okay, my friend?
Traitor fuck. That's what you
are. A lot of the times, like we talk about how.
Hey, Judas, get to your
Hold on, we have to hear from you.
We talk a lot about how women will initiate more divorce, which is true. But a lot of the reason for that is specifically because men are not able to meet their emotional needs, which I don't blame men for that because they are socialized to suppress their emotions. So I almost feel like we could come to middle ground here, Alex. If you're saying low testosterone rates can contribute to a lack of confidence, well then, yeah, maybe we need to start talking about healthier diets, exercising more, et cetera, et cetera.
I do that all the time on my channel. Yeah.
Well, hold on, because you need to still have enough confidence to be willing to be vulnerable at times with your partner if you really wish to see that relationship succeed.
So we're talking. You're talking about more about like long-term relationship success, which is fine, but initially to even get your foot in the door, right? Emotional vulnerability typically doesn't start until a little bit later, until you guys start getting more serious with each other.
But let's just define the scenario. Hold on, let's just define the scenario. Hunter, would it be okay if I go to my fiance and let's say I lost my job, can I be emotionally vulnerable? I'll start crying, honey, I got fired from work. Is that okay? Can I cry in front of her right there? Is that cool?
She's at your house, you come home and you start breaking down saying, I lost my job and I'm really concerned.
Yeah, do you recommend I do that?
I don't know if that's the kind of dynamic. I mean, if a guy wanted to do that, if that were the type of relationship dynamic, there's nothing wrong with that.
You think that's going to increase her arousal?
Do you think that every time you talk to a partner, your goal is to increase their arousal every single time?
I mean, you definitely don't want to. You definitely don't want to decrease it. You're either winning her or losing her.
And you call your girlfriend, or you're like, oh no, I can't ask for extra toilet paper.
So wait,
That's totally gonna turn her off.
When your career completely fell off, did you cry to your wife?
I'm about to go cry to my wife after this conversation because you are breaking me, my friend.
You recommend young men do that? Honey, I lost 100 million followers because I'm afraid to get that done.
I think that the notion that a man shouldn't cry and should never be emotionally vulnerable is incredibly detrimental for men's overall well-being. It is a
I'm saying for
hold
a
on, wait,
job.
Zherka,
I'm saying for a job.
It has been clinically demonstrated that both men and women both experience about the same degrees of emotions, as in biological brain chemistry responses. Only men, for some reason, arbitrarily, are expected to suppress that and never let those emotions out in a healthy way. And this is a medical fact that suppressing emotion as a coping mechanism contributes to more suicidality, higher risk of depression, higher risk of emotional instability. You're more likely to be sporadic, which is a big reason why men commit more suicide.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that, Hunter, but I think you're also forgetting
I know that you're not
men and women also experience a different type of emotions, right? Like men typically experience more like anger, and that is considered much more appropriate for a man to express than, say, sadness, right? For women,
but
expressing anger, she gets called a Karen, right? So there's different types of emotions.
Yes, but a lot of that is a good example of the social, like, almost a problem with some of these social expectations. You're right. When a woman gets mad, she's being bitchy. When a guy gets mad, he's being passionate and tough. You're right. These are negative expectations. But what was the first thing that you just said here? Because I think that I forgot what you said there a minute ago. You said that you don't disagree with me that men.
I don't necessarily disagree with the argument you made about like massively like suppressing your emotions could lead to detrimental effects on men's health. But I feel like that's completely irrelevant, or in some ways largely irrelevant to the topic at hand, because we can all agree that initially, in order to get your foot in the door, you have to be confident, you have to be assertive, right? And you can be as emotionally vulnerable as you want. You can be super in touch with your emotions. But if you don't have that confidence, you don't have that assertiveness, you're not going to even be able to get to a point where the girl wants you to be emotionally vulnerable with her. And it's if a lot of men nowadays are less confident, less assertive, then they're not even able to get to that point because they can't get in their foot in the door, which kind of is explained by the fact that there's way more incels right nowadays. Like, why could that be? I mean, we can talk about technology and whatnot, but I think part of the reason is that men are less confident. Therefore, when you're not confident, you're
men less confident? That's the point I'm trying to make this whole time.
I think Alex is getting at that because testosterone's lower, we're seeing less.
No, I don't think that's the only reason. I don't even know if that's the main reason. I think it's one of the reasons.
Well, I think that it is one of the reasons for sure. And I think that another one of the reasons, though, is also economic, that like men right now don't have the same degree of opportunity that they had prior, especially because of the physical labor jobs becoming far less pertinent. That is definitely contributing to some negative effects for men as well. But when you talk about how men feel anger more and whatnot, this is something that I'm not trying to pull the actually meme here, but actually, anger is a secondary emotion. So it's a real emotion, but it only stems from a more fundamental foundational emotion. So if a man is expressing anger and aggression consistently, it's oftentimes because there is an underlying more foundational emotion. Well, I don't know if insecurity would be.
I think it's insecurity and a sense of inadequacy.
All right, so can we all agree that men on average are less confident and assertive than in the past?
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree a little bit on that.
I can agree enough, but I don't think that's entirely always a bad thing, because sometimes what it meant to be assertive was you go slap your wife in the face.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about like being abusive. That's not what I'm talking about when I'm being assertive.
1950s macho men, that would be kind of like in that category.
Okay, that's not what I think of assertive as all.
again, I just want to say, like, I really do think it's because of evolution. Evolution is a thing. We all know it's a thing. It's scientific. I think that our society is evolving to be more equal between men and women, being able to have the same rights.
So you're saying it's biological evolution?
It is a type of biological evolution and societal evolution.
It can't be biological because biological evolution takes tens of thousands of years.
Testosterone levels.
Right, but that's not because that's not
biological.
no, that's not because of our DNA, right? It's not because our DNA has evolved to have.
Well, it's still a biological response.
It's a biological response. I'll just clarify. It's not evolution though.
No, when she speaks, I feel like
two different things.
Yeah, it could be. You can make an argument that it's
two different things.
that it's social evolution. It just can't be biological evolution.
I could make an argument that Ashley evolved backwards.
I can give an argument that Ashley's barely said 2 words, and every time she does, everybody says, the woman's interrupting. But, you know, toxic masculinity.
To be fair, Ashley, you interrupted me before the debate even started when we were first chatting over Zoom. So that is why I was a little bit extra annoyed right away. So it is true that
didn't notice it
those hold on, you're still interrupting me now. It is true that I did during the debate jump on you early, and that was the time when I deferred to Alex or Hunter to speak. It wasn't because you're a woman. It's because you interrupted me before we even, I think it was before we even started live streaming. And I was just amazed at how you just didn't even seem to be aware of it.
I wasn't aware of it, and I am having trouble hearing, so I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to. I was actually referring to the chat when every time I said
it. Could be a zodiac alignment. It could be, that time of the...
All right, Zherka, we have to keep it within terms of service.
Right. So I want to go back
to of the month. It's getting close to
No, I was talking about. I was not talking about periods. I was talking about zodiac alignments. I said zodiac alignment. Okay. I've read over 100 Freemasonic literature books, and really, nobody really understands that masculine and feminine, these are temperaments. To be masculine is to be active, like the solar, like the sun. To be feminine is to be lunar. It's to be passive.
Maybe should be, maybe when you say that's that time of year or whatever, or that time of the month, meaning the planetary alignment thing, maybe that should be against TOS just for being so incredibly stupid. Sounding like the My Little Pony next episode. Perhaps it should be against TOS just for the sake of misinformation.
Is it sexist if I tell this girl, Hunter, to go to the kitchen?
Oh no.
You identify as a boy, right? All right, so here's what I'm trying to say, okay? Please, no interruptions. Hunter, you agree men have become, they've gotten softer, like yourself, right?
Physically, men are not nearly as physically strong as they used to be. But
right.
I think men are also becoming a little bit more emotionally,
furries,
at least stronger in the sense of recognizing.
Can these furries hang with your grandpa? Can these furries hang with your grandpa? If your grandpa's playing cards, can these furries play, can they hang with your grandpa? Or would your grandpa traumatize them when he starts, maybe
do you regularly think about hanging out with a bunch of furries? Are you sucking their testosterone also? Dude, come on, my friend. Why don't you just make an argument now, okay?
I hope all 4 of your audience members are hysterically laughing. But do you think our grandparents can chill with the Zoomers of today? Can they even be in the same room, or would they look at them and say, what the fuck happened to these pussies?
I don't.
Are you
wait, hold on. Why the hell would I care about if my grandparents didn't approve of that?
I'm making the point that they got soft over time.
There's people's grandparents that wouldn't approve that right now their granddaughter or great granddaughter is engaged to a black guy.
Right,
I don't care.
About,
but just if they think it's weird or crazy, or the furries look crazy, or think these darn kids nowadays
are different. No, but we agree their testosterone is lower. We agree their testosterone is lower, right?
Lower testosterone, sure, but that doesn't translate to being a furry necessarily.
Okay, maybe I'm using extreme, but try and get there faster. Just explore the hypothetical, you fucking retard. Okay, here's the point I'm trying to make. If we all agree men have gotten softer, I guess our only disagreement would be you guys don't think it's a government thing, right? Oh, it's a conspiracy from the government. You don't believe that, right?
Well, I don't believe that, and I also don't believe that just men blanket have been.
So you believe governments want macho men? They want them?
Why would the government not particularly want macho men who can work labor jobs?
I mean, think of
that they're not as pertinent.
Hold on,
still relevant.
is there anything more masculine than the revolutionary spirit? Why would governments want a masculine revolutionary society? They could just pitchfork them out of the fucking office. Of course they want
Revolutionary
they want weak consumers like Hunter Avallone. Like you just stay online all day playing your little StarCraft.
You realize there's a lot of like socialist girls even who are all like revolutionary minded as far as thinking we need to overthrow capitalistic systems and whatnot.
Yeah, but they're women, so they'll never get it done.
No, but this revolutionary spirit sounds like a random arbitrary thing you are just deciding to define as masculinity. Even though having a mindset in which you are supportive of a revolution is a commonality amongst political people, whether they're women or men. So I don't understand even what that has to do with it.
Let's kick it over to Ashley. We haven't heard from Ashley in a while, and I do want to be fair.
Ideological support.
Hold on, okay, Zherka, shut up.
You're not making any sense.
Well, let's kick it over to Ashley or Alex if you have any thoughts. We haven't heard from you for a while.
Alex, go ahead.
Okay, so it's actually a question. It goes to both you, Hunter, and you, Ashley. What is your definition of wimpy? Because I don't know if we're operating on the same definition. So I want to hear what you guys think it is.
Go ahead, Hunter.
Yeah, I gave it at the beginning: weak, ineffectual, and cowardly. Which is why I said that if we're talking about weakness in as far as physical weakness, then yes, men are definitely weaker. If we're talking about like emotionally weaker. I think in some ways maybe not. But again, the expectation that men should be cowardly and suppress their emotions and hide from the way they're feeling is absolutely wimpy. So yeah, there's definitely still some wimpy expectations.
Okay, Ashley, do you agree with Hunter's definition? Do you have your own?
Sure, I agree.
Okay, your definition is pretty close to the one I have. It's basically not strong, brave, or confident, right? Which is basically the same thing that you said. So we have agreed, taking the being afraid to be emotional, vulnerable thing aside, which is only a part of courage, we have agreed that men today are less confident than they used to be. Ashley, according to her own admission, finds 50% of the men not to be masculine enough for her taste. So therefore, is it really a stretch to then just say men on average are more wimpy? Not all men, but if we're doing averages, and if you agree that men are being less confident than they were, then therefore men are being more wimpy, according to your own definition.
What fucking metric are we using to measure how men are being wimpy and how they're not being wimpy? That's the thing. Like, we don't, other than the testosterone levels, which can we please, for the love of fucking God, move away from?
Well,
what
the
are
thing
we
is
saying?
I think this could, sorry to cut you off, but I feel like this could lead to a really.
Cut me off.
I feel like
But to be fair, to be fair to Ashley, what have you got, Ashley?
No, it's all good.
I've been hard on you, Ashley. I do want to apologize. I want to say.
No, I mean, Alex interrupted you as well, James, like hardcore in the beginning, and you didn't say shit. So that was kind of fucking out of left field, and I did take offense to it, and that was pretty shitty. You're a moderator. You're not in the debate. I'm just saying, it did piss me off. I'm over here cooling down and collecting myself. I'm not fucking crying, but I am.
You got it. I appreciate you letting me know that. I don't remember when Alex interrupted me, but I will say Alex can attest, no joke. There was one time when Kevin Wilder, and I felt really bad about it. It was after his stream ended. I think his name is Kevin Wilder.
Yeah, I remember that day.
And I had a temper outburst on Kevin, which I said, I was like, okay, I jumped the gun on that. So maybe it's timing, because that's, I think, what it was for Kevin.
I gave James too much of my testosterone, so we're going to scale back for those.
So basically, I hadn't noticed Alex had done it. Otherwise, frankly, like I've reproved Kevin Wilder, who's a guy. And so Alex, being a guy, like I don't want to discriminate based on sex. It's just that, like I said, there was one time. Let's just get back into the debate.
I do want to say that, like, it is. I don't need sympathy points, and I don't need anybody to sit over here suck my dick. But I'm just saying, like, I'm one female versus a 4-male panel, apparently now. So. My bad.
I'm not really disagreeing with you.
I don't think that you're. I don't think that you're like without a partner. I think it might be that Hunter disagrees on like a subtlety, but I think generally you guys agree. And Zherka and Alex, I think there's a.
We definitely, me and Zherka definitely disagree quite a good amount. So yeah, so
it's kind of more
it's pretty fair.
To be honest,
me and Alex agree on a decent amount too. Because what I was gonna do when I interrupted a second ago.
I'm sorry. What I meant was that I'm the only female here. That's all I meant. I'm
Okay.
doing the same things that the males are doing, but I was the only one called out, so it's fine.
Yeah, to be fair though, like I said, I was pissed and I should have said it before the stream started,
Yeah.
that I was annoyed when you interrupted me prior to the stream starting. So when I noticed it during the stream, that was where I was like, okay, my gasket's blowing. But
My apologies, honestly, James, to that, my apologies. You know, I'm always super respectful to you. At least I try to be, and
I just hope you know, like I said, is purely just because of the pre-stream where I was like triggered. But so I get where
And
you're
then I
coming
got
from.
triggered. My apologies. as well.
And that's why even just one last thing, and I'll let you guys. Sorry, Hunter and Alex, and
I'm sorry too.
I'm not really sorry to Zherka. That's why I made it clear to everybody where I was like, okay, that probably did look like I was kind of coming down on you because you're a woman. But like I said, it really was just because of the context thing that I explained in terms of before the stream. So, because I agree that it looks like that, and it probably looked like that to other people, and that's why I like brought it up myself. So, I don't blame you for interpreting it that way. Okay.
I appreciate you, James, and I do apologize I interrupted you. I really didn't honestly even notice.
I know you didn't even notice it. So, and that's the thing.
My bad.
Sometimes a person's like planning to say another sentence right after what they just said, but the person interprets. So, go ahead, Hunter or Alex, or was it Ashley? Were you finishing a point? I can't even remember who was talking.
I'm good now. I'm totally derailed. I'm gonna take a minute.
I wanted to.
I
Okay.
interrupted.
I would like to
because I
join.
wanted to.
May I
Well, wait,
join
because
the
I was about to have some middle ground here with Alex, which I was simply going
Wait,
to
may I
say.
join? Guys, can you hear me? May
Yeah,
I
we
join
can-
the
we can-
therapy
we
session
can-
with Ashley?
Okay, as long as you're not going to just make fun of somebody, I want to
No,
hear
no.
what Hunter's point was.
No, but we almost had tears there, James.
I promise I'm not
From
nearly
who?
as close to tears as you think. Go ahead, Hunter.
It's just, even if we were to go ahead and be like, okay, fine, then maybe we can kind of come to some agreement here that, yeah, men today are a little bit wimpier. Maybe they do have lower testosterone, that's contributing to that. Then that's like just the very beginning of the conversation, right? Because the next step is, okay, if we're going to say that men are wimpier nowadays, why? Why is this? You talk about men being less confident. I would not be surprised if a man is having very little luck with girls, is gravitating towards incel beliefs if he doesn't have a job and still lives with his parents while he's in his early 20s. That's a
What about
shitty
me?
place. Well,
What
hold
about
on, wait.
me?
That's a shitty place to be in. And now guys are having a harder and harder time achieving mobility in the economy. I mean, we see
What about-
women
why do I
graduating
do
faster.
so- why do I
so
do
like,
so well
Because
with women?
Zherka, you are
I thought I have the
someone
incel
that you're
beliefs.
not.
Why do women love me? Why do women love me? I have these
Because
incel beliefs.
because they're too afraid to tell you the truth, probably.
What do you got,
again,
Ashley?
that's
Go ahead.
a conversation for another time, my friend.
Yeah,
Well,
and
I
no
think
woman
that the
afraid of you.
reason, the question Zherka's asking, the reason that he thinks or whatever that women are so obsessed with him is, I mean, I've heard him speak about it because I listen to people that I'm about to debate before I actually go on and debate them, Zherka.
You're doing great.
Yeah, thanks so much. You're not so much.
Hang in
You're
there.
not. Yeah, it's pretty cringe. But I think it's because he actually admits himself that he used to be this nerdy gamer, dorky type that never got chicks, you know. But then what he did is he started watching like guys like Andrew Tate and other guys that like say these like really toxic masculine things, toxic masculine, right? Where he tells the woman like, shut up, bitch. And like, you know, I'm jealous. The second I meet you, I'm jealous. And like, just all this weird possessive stuff. And he kind of goes on to say that like, that is his way using toxic masculinity as a weapon to essentially get girls into bed. Now, self-admittedly, he doesn't have any like serious like LTRs and he's not looking for marriage right now. And he also says that when he is looking for marriage, it's going to be traditional and it's basically going to be his family is going to pick his bride for him because of his ethnic background and that's their traditions. So I would just say that like that, it sounds a lot to me like he's setting himself up for failure in that genre. And he also admits to, I mean, very self-admittedly, he says things specifically just to be polarizing, just to, you know, trigger responses and become viral. So earlier, Hunter, when you said, is this guy just a troll? Yes. Essentially, he is just a troll. The fact that he's trying to seriously debate this is incredibly humorous to me. And I will.
Ashley, question, are you married?
I was married for 12 years.
And what happened?
let's keep it on the actual topic at hand.
I got
I'd
the
love to
point.
hear what everybody's
Well, no, she said
romantic
that
vows.
I'm clearly gonna fail with my long term. I want to know how she failed, so I avoid the failure.
Well, it depends on your definition of failure, I guess. Would failure be that you actually did something organically for 10 to 12 years and then it didn't work out? Or would failure be that you
that would be the definition.
Hold on,
Wasting 12 years is the
actually
definition.
finish, Zherka.
or that you are actually like going through, basically an arranged marriage set up by your family, which I don't know a whole lot about, but I do. I did work with several people that were in arranged marriages. It seems typically the man still gets to kind of do what he wants to do, and the woman is like staying at home.
Why did you lie? You said Zherka's never had long term. Yes, I have.
I said, as far as I could see from your content, you haven't had some serious long-term relationships.
Right.
I
right.
guess you have to
All right,
define
give me
that.
some advice. I want some advice. Should I be less masculine?
I don't know. It just depends on what you're looking for. What are you trying to do? Are you just trying to kind of snow women over at the bar, look around at the bar, just be any guy that you want to be?
Just manipulate. I just want to manipulate.
And like yell at them.
I want to manipulate.
Right before they
them.
come, tell them that they're a stupid bitch. Or are you actually looking for some kind of girlfriend? Or you even said yourself you're not good at sex. So I don't know. I kind of don't take guys seriously. That it's like Myron Gaines who says the female orgasm isn't important. Like guys that say they're not good at sex. I mean, I know you admit or you claim you made a woman come by yelling at her across the room.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, that happened. That happened.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did.
That's only happened to me a couple times. That's only happened to me a few times. I didn't know that was a common term.
Hunter, ask your wife. I once yelled at her, right? So now check this out. Actually, what can I do to be better at sex? I want some advice since we're going in on my personal life.
Well, I mean, you're the one.
We really don't have to do this. We could go back to. I hate to interrupt.
Oh, James, let her drown.
James, they tried to drown me.
Let her drown. Let her drown. I want to hear her advice. After her 12-year failure marriage, I want to know what's the good sex.
I don't know how.
Well, the sex was always really wonderful during that marriage. Yeah, but
even when he grabbed the ring and threw it in the ocean, was it good then?
I feel like
We'll never stop masculinity from rising.
Well, Zherka, I feel like if you're really horny and want some erotic stories being told to you, you can just look it
I
up
feel
online.
like your wife is literally attracted.
All right.
Your wife is literally attracted to me, like literally.
Okay, everyone's attracted to you, Zherka, but we do have to move on.
Not everyone, James. You got a subway tattoo. You're definitely above me, right? You're above my pay grade.
I appreciate that. That's very kind. Alex, what have you got? You look like you're in deep thought.
No, I was just waiting for this little shit show to resolve. Okay, I'll move on to I guess answering Hunter's question. So,
oh my God, she cheated on him.
What?
Okay, let's get Alex a chance to make his case.
When did you say that?
no, I actually never did, Alex. I didn't.
Okay. Anyway.
Oh, someone said it in chat, so I thought it was true.
Oh, well, definitely. Then you should believe it.
Anyway, so
someone said that Zherka's ex said he only lasted 2 minutes in bed in my chat.
Well, he admits he's bad about it. I mean,
I told you guys.
Not on topic.
I'm telling you, Hunter's wife and my ex, they got so much in common. They're both disappointed in me.
All right, let's go to Alex.
Alrighty, anyway.
That was a good one, Zherka. Nice, man. Nice.
Alrighty.
Go ahead, Alex.
Anyway, so it seems like, Hunter, you agreed to the premise that men are a little bit more wimpy, and I appreciate you acknowledging this. Your question was why, and I want to answer this, so I wrote down some notes while you guys were talking. So I think it's a very multifaceted thing. I don't think it's just limited to testosterone. I don't think there's one answer for it. I think it's multiple things. Here are some of the things that I think contribute to that. One of the things I hear from men that I coach is that they're really worried about being put on a girl's TikTok or Instagram. They're worried about like saying something and then they're going to be called out. This is a common fear I hear over and over again. A lot of men are socializing less. They're spending more time in front of their computer instead of like actually talking to people. And I think that's making everyone recluses. And they're following weird rabbit hole ideologies that didn't have the potential to exist 20 years ago before the internet was what it was, right? Even 10 years ago. You can, reference the Social Dilemma for documentary for that. And there are literally people who believe that approaching a girl on the street will get you locked up. There's actually people who say that over and over again. They believe it. They're like, hey, I'm worried that if I go up to a girl and I say, hey, I think you're cute, I will go to jail, which obviously is pure nonsense. So I think those are some of the reasons why men are acting more wimpy today.
Sure. I mean, the thing is
really
you can ask James. Like I messaged him ahead of time. I was like, I was like, I mean, I kind of think that like we're on the right track as far as like telling men not to be cowardly when it comes to their feelings. But like, yeah, generally speaking, I think men kind of are still, struggling. And if we want to say that it's wimpy, then that's fine.
Really, we're on the right track. Isn't 80% of men not even sexually active? Aren't 80% of men trying to fucking kill themselves? They live in despair.
What I was gonna say here is that actually, first
You
of
can't
all,
even get a woman like Ashley.
Zherka, you cannot talk about men killing themselves when you have just denied the existence of toxic masculinity, my friend. You're denying the cause of the problem.
I denied.
Wait, you said that toxic masculinity isn't real. Toxic masculinity is.
No, I said it's real and we need more. I said we need more of it.
Okay, so it's contributing to the suicidality.
Hunter,
no, it's not.
That we need to go back
all male suicide comes from. Actually, just a sec. Let the king speak. All male suicide comes from dating women like Ashley. Like, if everyone knows there's a dead end where it's like, hey man, we're not gonna make it. Marriage is not actually biblical anymore. It's just a piece of paper. We're not going to the gates of heaven together. We're not going all together. And this despair fills their stomach. And that's when they start cheating and becoming like you guys, where like Hunter, I heard
That's why you don't add anything to the conversation, because I'm actually trying to take you somewhere with like a logical follow through.
Okay, don't
and you're just derailing into some long trolling.
Don't take you to the room where your wife begs you. Put the sword away. Go ahead, Hunter. I'll allow you to speak now. Boop.
I don't even remember. Oh yeah, that's right. You were saying that you don't think that toxic masculinity is legitimate, even as far as the expectations that could be harmful to men. So I guess I'll just go back to what I said before, which is that it's a clinical fact that suppressing emotion is detrimental to your own well-being. Men are disproportionately expected to suppress their emotions. Men also are disproportionately committing suicide. We know from surveys that thousands of men all over the West, whether we're talking about Canada, the US, Australia, the UK, have admitted to suppressing emotions for the sheer sake of looking more manly. And I'm telling you right now, you don't get to have your cake and eat it too. You don't get to say, hey, I'm going to contribute to the disease, but I'm also going to whine about how bad we.
But it's not the disease.
You're spreading the disease.
It's not the disease. And you have to change. You have to change it. The disease comes from the fact that men are surrounded by hoes. They know they're not getting married. They know they're growing old and alone. Whether they have $1 million or $100 million, their wife is not a virgin. She got.
What I was going to say also is that there are more men now who are still living at home right now. Those are the men having the least amount of sex, which again goes back to what I was just saying. I'm not surprised.
If they were more
if your confidence is lower, yeah, how are you going to go out and get a job? How are you going to have sex with a girl when you're living at home with your parents?
Okay, first of all, testosterone is the #1 correlating factor to success. So saying like, well, maybe it's not.
It's the most bullshit thing.
Yeah, that's not true.
What? Look at the difference from men and women.
Provide a statistic.
Wait, just because there's a difference doesn't mean you get to just blame it on testosterone.
Honestly, you're horrible.
Help me out. Just destroy me.
You don't know your stats. You are fucking misogynistic. You just say things specifically to trigger because.
Send me your tears so I can drink them on stream, okay?
Wait, hold on, Zherka. I thought
wait, hold on. Wait,
no.
Oh, my period.
Because you're whining about.
Yo, Hunter's wife. Get out of there. Get out of there.
You're
Get out of
whining
there.
from
Hunter.
Your wife's here. You're double teaming me, bro.
Have we not heard this whole time about how testosterone levels are going down? Testosterone levels are going down. Why are we seeing more and more men who are more and more successful? We didn't have billionaires back then. We have people that are making more and more money nowadays. Nowadays.
So making 100 million with crypto and some fucking NFT, but being an incel loser who's got no fucking woman, no family, that's successful?
No, but I'm saying that we're also.
Well, that's who you're talking about. You're talking about those.
I'm talking about.
You're talking about
like
those that are dating.
Musk, Bezos. We have people who are younger. I would have to look up the youngest millionaire.
Can we hear from Alex more? This guy's
there's a lot of successful men right now.
I think I can actually. I think I can bridge the gap. Honestly.
Thank you,
Zherka. The first time we had a discussion, I think you told me, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're not a fan of the stigma that exists for men to get mental health help. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, my twin brother is a therapist, and he told me there are actual liberal therapists who you pay them a bunch of money and they give you a liberal advice. They say, sometimes you just got to pat yourself on the back. And so he has a master's degree, and he said it's very scary when choosing a therapist. If you go to someone who's completely blue pill and stuff like that, you're getting scammed to oblivion.
Okay, but assuming you don't go to
somebody like,
assuming you don't go to someone who's blue pill, assuming you go to a therapist like your brother or someone who's competent in what they're doing, then you would not be a fan of the stigma that would exist for men to go see someone like that if they're struggling, right?
I let's just go back to the example of, do you tell your wife you lost your job and cry like a bitch in front of her? I don't think it works.
Wait, hold on.
If you lose
your job, you better damn well tell your wife that. And if you are gonna choose to,
you can tell her Hunter, you're giving young men the advice of, yeah, you can cry in front of her because you lost a job. Like
no. My advice is that, hey,
no, you already doubled down on that.
If you're in a marriage, okay, you should be able to be vulnerable with your partner. Yeah. If you lose your job and you get emotional talking about it, your partner of all people, just shut the fuck up.
Then explain the divorce rate.
Hunter is right. We have to give him a chance. I appreciate your energy and your passion, Zherka, but we do have to give Hunter a chance to finish the point.
Okay,
we appreciate his energy and passion.
Your partner of all people should be the one who you can confide in and can be vulnerable with. Again, it's not about crying all the time. It's not about breaking down about every single thing. It's about having emotional intelligence, okay? That's all. It's just recognizing the situation and acting appropriately. If you're home alone, it's a late night, you're feeling emotional and you lost your job, well, the time might be appropriate to be vulnerable. And if you feel that you can't be vulnerable with your partner, then you're in a fucking loser marriage, dude. You're in a toxic relationship. You're probably getting cuffed also.
But we can bridge the gap. Can we agree that maybe there's that most things about masculinity are good, but maybe there's like at least one thing that's like probably not the best. Like I think that Zherka, you do agree that the stigma against therapy isn't a good thing, assuming this therapist is competent. So I think the point that Hunter is making is that, hey, listen, if there's a stigma, then that would technically be part of toxic masculinity, right? Even though that term has been bastardized, but there's still the point is that that's like one thing that's traditionally
he's still running from it. He's still running from it. Where Alex. The idea, like when you look at the divorce rate and how high it is, the idea that everyone is this blue pill zoomer, Hunter, Avallone kind of has like this like trans identity going on, whatever he's got going on. Everyone's like this, and everyone has problems with their wife or their fiance or their girlfriend. Everyone is breaking up, and they're all doing the same thing. They're all going, honey, I lost my job, and crying. But then you have these toxic types like me. And when's the last time anyone left when's the last time I got dumped? Because check this out.
First and foremost, you're not getting dumped because some woman is terrified of being thrown across the room. She's not actually speaking.
Let's Zherka, the last little bit from Zherka, and then we'll go to you.
I was just going to acknowledge, like, Zherka, there's an element of truth to what you're saying. Like, there was a study that came out that showed that men who have traditional gender roles are having more sex than men who are not, right? So what you're saying is generally backed up by science and some anecdotal experience.
No, it just depends fully on what study you're talking about. Was this one on benevolent sexism?
I don't remember. It's an older one though. It was from France too. It was a European study, but they looked at like tens of thousands of couples. But the point is
gay.
The point is, sure, I agree with you on that point. But then, like, going back to the therapy thing, like on that one, you do have to like kind of agree that that's like unfortunate that there's a stigma.
Yeah, talking to your therapist about losing your job is way more beneficial than drying up your wife till she cheats on you with a BBC. Do you know how big a black guy's cock can be?
Okay, so second time of you saying something gay now. That's very cute. Can we go back to a second ago? So you're talking a lot about how marriages aren't working out and whatnot, but again, you're saying there's no such thing as toxic masculinity, or if there is, that there's not enough of it. You realize that a big reason why divorce happens and why women initiate it is because their emotional needs are not being met. Men
really? Like Stephen Crowder's wife?
Because men lack emotional intelligence, because they don't even know how to navigate their own emotions, because their whole life they've been told by dumb fucks like you that shedding a single tear at their mom's funeral means their crush won't ever.
I didn't say funeral. I said job.
A lot of
it. Look how you change it. I
didn't say a lot of the times
I didn't say funeral.
Dude. Hey, I'm being hyperbolic. Okay, can you?
Get out of
the kitchen, troll.
No, that's evil. You know,
get out of the kitchen, troll.
If someone dies, they can cry, but like maybe don't like go overboard where you get pegged like Hunter and his wife. Go ahead.
All I'm saying is again,
Hunter?
hold on. All I'm saying is again, you are contributing to the problem and then complaining about the problem. You can't do both. Pick one.
No, you're talking to Alex and me. That's why you think it's contradictory, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, me and Zherka
I'm
have
saying
different
there's
positions
not
on
enough
this.
of it.
Also,
my position isn't with Alex. Like, I don't believe what Alex believes, right?
Sorry, maybe I misunderstood, but I thought, go ahead. Then maybe I wasn't clear.
well, I think you do agree with me about the therapy thing, though. I think we are in agreement on that, and that is.
Well, no, what I was getting at with, I think we're all in agreement with that. What I was getting at with Zherka, though, was just simply that if you're talking about like men killing themselves or men getting divorced and stuff like this, talking about how
actually, let's go back to that.
Talking about how men need to have more stoicism and more of these toxic expectations need to be.
No, they don't need stoicism. They need pettiness. They need to be more jealous. They need to be more like me, less like you, right? I bet that sword goes soft when you hold it. You just look weak. But let me finish. Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. Hold on. Yes, more pettiness, right? Like a real man. So now stoicism. That's just fucking gay, bro. Now listen. My problem is you think that the male suicide rate has something to do with men suppressing their emotions because you read one fucking dumb liberal think tank study like a fucking retard. No,
it comes from accepted the study that agreed with you a second ago.
One in the chat if you agree, all male suicide is the fault of women. Women have failed. Men feel despair. They're like, well, I'm not having a family, and if I am, we're having a divorce, and the statistics are against me, and she's going to take half my wealth, and blah, blah, blah. It's all from despair. The fact that you think suppressing your emotions is why they're fucking killing themselves is just fucking.
No, it's a lack of expressing emotion. If you don't know
how to express,
if you don't know how to express your emotions and you don't know how to deal with what you're feeling, then yeah, it makes it way more likely that if you're partaking in that kind of a coping mechanism, that you're going to commit suicide. Yeah.
I will agree.
Ashley for a while.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll go right back to you, Alex, but just because we haven't heard from Ashley for a while, go ahead, Ashley.
No. I just wanted you to unmute me. I'm listening.
What the fuck, Ashley? Just speak. We're back on you.
Go ahead, Alex. What do you got?
Oh, well.
It's a pep talk, James.
I probably have like a middle position on this between Hunter and Zherka, but I mean, I do think that yes, like there are for sure cases where men suppress their emotions and that leads to their downfall. I can totally imagine that, and I think I've heard even anecdotal stories like that.
Yeah, what percentage, Alex, of Hunter's cases?
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Where I'm more with you. I don't think that's the biggest reason for why men commit suicide. Right? I think probably the biggest reason why men will commit suicide is despair. Is despair. Yeah, I will agree with you on that.
Yes.
And how men and women choose to, not even what causes it, but how men and women choose to act on that despair also is different.
Look at him trying to frame it. Look at him trying to frame it like the little weasel you are. Go ahead, little weasel.
Frame it. It's
so
actually
I'm
analyzing.
gonna have to agree.
They're not mutually exclusive. They're not.
You have this very strange idea that if something is nuanced or complicated, and it
why is everything nuanced to you people? Suicide
when it goes
nuanced? Suicide, you're saying is nuanced?
Yes.
It typically has to be.
Suicide is a nuanced issue. Is
really?
this Zherka's first baby steps in the real
world? Hold on.
Wow, congratulations. Hold
on.
Dude,
let me
how do you try to be a troll and you end up just thinking like a fucking idiot?
Take the dildo out your ass.
Holy shit, this is embarrassing for you.
Hold on, Hunter, if you blanket all male suicide with the word despair, is that fair?
Well, they would all have despair, would they not? But why?
Yeah, that's pretty black and white, you fucking idiot. Like, use your fucking brain. Where's the nuance there? Where's the
why would they have that?
Well, actually, there's more things.
Exactly.
There's more things. His mom didn't text him back. And actually,
Zherka.
Actually, don't.
Hey,
Actually,
what is the point you're trying to make right now?
How many chromosomes does Ashley have?
What? Wait, can Zherka please explain what the point is he just made? If you say it's
you made my point for me that if you can blanket a whole demographic of people, it's just hang on a sec. Nice and easy. If you can blanket them whole with one category of despair, you made my point for me, you idiot.
Yeah, but Zherka,
black and white. There's no nuance in the word despair. You're gonna add it like actually his mom didn't text him back. He's suppressing his emotions.
Wait, a degree of which the degree by which you have the despair to initiate suicide is going to vastly vary.
Wait, Zherka, can you?
How are you so?
I was just gonna ask a question real quick.
Go ahead and
Oh, I was just gonna say this, Zherka, but can you agree that like two people could experience the same amount of despair? One of them might kill themselves, and one of them might not, based on how they deal with it. Like someone can deal with it way better than the other. So I think that's the point that Hunter's trying to make, is that of course, yeah, despair is a huge part of it, but some people deal with despair in such a way that they get through it, and some people deal with despair in a way that they kill themselves.
Ashley, any thoughts?
Yeah, Zherka, can you not admit that you're just literally trolling and saying the most like just absurd things for clicks and giggles, and like for the incels out there that you're just like, what? Yeah, you look and say what I want, but you have absolutely zero evidence to back any of it up, because that's honestly what I'm seeing. Like you're just sensational.
You're literally giving the I lost speech. But you must be a troll since I'm getting destroyed with the word
No,
despair.
you are. Your entire fucking
You haven't made one
everything
point
you've
today.
said tonight.
Ashley, the only good point you made, the only good point we ever even talked about is that the dude after 12 years left you, right? But I'm telling you, everyone goes with troll when they're losing. Challenge the argument. Challenge the argument. Don't challenge the troll. Challenge the argument.
You have
All right,
you have
I have
absolutely.
You're the one who said I've never been in long term. I guess girls can't.
I said that as far as I could tell from watching your content, I haven't seen a seriously long-term relationship from you,
Yeah,
and I've watched you yourself say that that's not really your goal right now. That your goal is just to
Actually, attack the argument. Why don't you attack the argument? Is all male suicide? Does all male suicide come from? Do you agree that all male suicide comes from despair? The fact that they feel alone in the world?
I think that is a very fucking stupid as hell argument. Yes, most things come from despair, most negative things, right? Any bad feelings of myself, any thoughts of harming myself or others, yes.
I said loneliness. I said loneliness. Not until I give you. I'll give you permission in a second. I said from loneliness. You agree?
No, you said from despair.
Yeah, despair from being alone, that they're going to end up alone. Try and download.
No, you added that
message.
later.
You're
As I
lagging.
was answering your first question.
Let's kick it back over to Alex and Hunter.
Idiot.
Go ahead, Hunter.
Let's see if Hunter and Alex, do you have a lot of disagreement between each other?
I think we only disagree when it comes to degree. I think Hunter primarily thinks that correct me if I'm wrong, that the main reason for like all the issues that we have is because men are incapable of processing emotions, and I would say that's part of the issue, but I would say that it's not the main issue. I think that's where we agree about the problem, we agree about what's going on, we just disagree about the degree. And I guess there's no way I can like scientifically prove that. I mean, that's kind of more like we're just going to go with anecdotal experience.
Well, it's just interesting because we were talking a little bit about the suicide and whatnot, and Zherka was bringing up the despair thing. But like, so a big reason why men actually commit suicide disproportionately is not even that they are necessarily disproportionately suffering from mental illness. So this really interesting statistics: 60% of American males who died by suicide had no history of mental health issues. And so the reason that men are leading in suicidality is actually because of a lack of emotional regulation, and men are more impulsive. So women might be better at processing. Right, women might be better at processing the problem, right, and trying to work through it. Whereas men, if they feel there's no way out, they're more impulsive. They're gonna fucking take the trigger and be done with it.
But Hunter, I don't know if that's true, because women try to kill themselves just as much as men. The big difference is that men typically succeed at it and women typically don't. So you'd have to say that.
No, it's not just as much, Alex. It's more attempts.
Oh, women. So okay. So if women are more suicidal, if women are more. I appreciate you clear. I appreciate you clearing up. Yeah, so if women are more suicidal, right, then that would kind of dismiss that whole thing that men about, right? It just seems that men typically are,
No, because the reason they're committing suicide is going to be very different. So like women, for example, might be committing suicide because of struggles in regards to body.
They don't. They literally don't.
Which is something that's far more difficult for women than it is for men.
Are we going to talk about
what I'm getting at though is that? Well, what I'm getting at though. Hold on, wait. What I'm getting at though is ultimately that the lack of emotional regulation leads to higher rates of impulsivity. So whether men are committing suicide at higher rates than women or not, men are committing suicide at high rates. We don't want men to kill themselves. So therefore, if we want men to have better emotional regulation and less impulsivity, therefore be less likely to kill themselves, we should be able to contend with this issue.
Yeah, and Zherka, I'm sorry, I do have a point, if I may.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Thank you, Zherka. I appreciate that. You're almighty king. But I will say that, like, I think that part of it, and this is kind of where again, I'm friends with Alex. Like, I watch a lot of his content. I like his content, and I'm a supporter of it for most of I think that you've represented yourself well tonight, Alex, blah, blah, blah. So I'm confident saying
A star for Alex.
Yeah, Zherka, you're a fucking piece of shit troll. But what I'll say for this is that, like, Alex and people like him, not all PUAs, because a lot of pickup artists and dating coaches and that and the other that I found in the space tend to be kind of toxic. But one thing that Alex promotes, and Zherka, this is kind of, it's all gonna come together because
Hopefully.
Alex, I'm sorry?
I said hopefully it all comes together, right? We're taking a long way home.
Are you done?
Oh yeah. Mine's short and sweet.
Oh, you aren't done. Sorry, you're not? Are you? Can I?
Bring it on, Ashley.
Go ahead, Ashley.
Oh, thank you.
Let her
Thank you.
finish.
Okay, so one thing I will say is that one thing Alex actually contributes to things that I've seen in the male genre, the male space, is that he advocates for men talking about how they feel, men talking about why they feel the way they do, the things that are actually affecting them emotionally as well as physically, et cetera, et cetera. And even when he brought up testosterone earlier, right? Like, he was bringing it up as a way that, like, hey, we need to have better diets. We need to exercise more. These are all positive things. And these are the kind of men that I can get on board with. These are the kind of men that, like, me as a feminist, I can be like, you know what? Like, he's right. Like, men do.
You're a feminist?
May I finish?
You?
Let's hear the rest from Ashley. I'll give you another 30 seconds, Ashley, then we're going to move to anyone but Jen.
I'm sorry, I can't hear myself. Oh, okay. So when I hear men like Alex and others, which I haven't really found many in the kind of manosphere type space, which is where I discovered Zherka, I actually respect that because they are going for things that are actually productive and healthy and good. And they have a well-balanced kind of sense of right and wrong and how we can fix this. Now, even if I might disagree with this person on, you know, some kind of tiny little point here and there, I can honestly say that this is not a toxic, horrible human. People like Zherka are just toxic, and they're out there honestly just trying to get clicks, views, and likes because of the shit that they say. And that's where I just can't get on board. And I think that he contributes to the problem. And that was the point I wanted to make about, I guess, specifically the manosphere, since two of the people on the panel are directly from the manosphere. I thought it was relevant. Thank you.
Any other thoughts from?
I appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
Appreciate the kind words too. I just didn't think it would take an hour and a half to build on that premise. Like, I'm glad you got it done, Ashley. But you could next time just say Zherka's a misogynist pig. You don't have to do that whole like.
I don't think you are. I think you're a phony and a fake. I think that you pretend to be a misogynist pig.
If you took an hour to admit
you're just a closeted incel.
Yo, this feminist.
That is a way to get laid. Honestly, that's what I think. You use it as a way to play a character online, self-admittedly, but in reality, you're super insecure and you're kind of overweight. You've got a dad bod and a little pudgy belly, and you're just kind of icky. And you admit that you're bad in bed. So, like, these are the ways that you use. These are the things you do and say in order to get laid. Like, that's what I do.
You know what's funny? It took you an hour. It took you an hour to admit you can't battle the arguments and that you've lost and you're triggered. And I'm like,
you're so
why are you
right,
triggered?
yeah, because you started by saying.
Ashley, why are you mad?
Okay.
There's a man who spent 12 years.
I'm done.
There's a man out there who spent 12 years with you. There's people who are rightfully angry that they waste their time. Right?
Hey, Zherka, is it true? Did BX Bullet really sniff your boxers?
Yes, she did.
Okay.
No. That's a friend.
That's a prank. Oh, it was a prank. Okay.
No, I said it's a friend. Like, let's be honest, guys.
Oh,
I'm not
friend.
Like you guys.
Okay.
I'm not like you guys who are like, I hide my flaws on the internet to look like Ashley. Like, hey, I had a 12-year marriage, but it didn't work, and now I'm gonna give feminazi advice. I give you guys my flaws. I even tell you the girls that I've been with. That's how transparent I am. But I'm telling you, you guys are not making arguments for your side. You
Well, the thing
conceded-
is I tried to talk.
Hunter, you guys conceded that men have become weaker. Thank you, I guess. And now you guys just gotta admit that you kind of enjoy this. You want to fit in with your little beta males, right? You actually want to play your little chess. You guys play. You probably play checkers, not chess. You guys just don't have the IQ. But I'm saying, like, you guys want this soy world. Alex kind of doesn't, and I can't live in your world. You guys are gonna hang me. I can't let you guys
It's just
have power.
weird that you talk about how you're a big, tough
Are you
Sigma
saying that because I'm
alpha.
half black?
I said it's kind of weird how you talk about yourself like you're a big, tough Sigma
Wait.
alpha male because you're open about your flaws, but yet I was open about my flaws and you called
Yeah,
me
but
a,
hold on.
traitor.
Am I?
Remember you called me
am I-
Judas for leaving the right when I was open about my flaws. So
Well,
it seems as though
let's
you're
hear it
fine
right
with
now.
flaws
Let's
as long.
hear it right now.
No,
Why
it
did
sounds
you
as
give us the reason right now on record. Why did you leave the right? Give it right
there
now.
was not one reason why. There were multiple reasons.
Oh my
One of them being
God.
that the right wing prioritizes
Your wife
conserving.
brainwashed you, bro.
One reason being that the right wing aims to conserve tradition, even if it's at the expense of other people's rights. For example, conserving traditional marriage is more valuable to them than allowing for gay people to have their rights, their 14th Amendment rights.
Oh,
to be
you're
respected.
gay?
That's just one reason why, though. If you want me to give you some other ones, I can.
Hunter,
But
go
I don't
full.
know why
Go,
you
you got-
You're so
because
desperate
afraid
to
of
try to
being-
like get me in a trap, and you failed every time.
It's not a
Very
trap.
funny.
Dude. No, dude, you were born in a trap. Okay, you don't have the DNA for
I
debate.
think
I'm
that,
sorry.
Zherka, I think that you are someone who is very unintelligent, and I think that you come on and do things like this because it's polarizing.
Don't cry, Ashley.
I don't.
Hold the tears in.
I
Suppress it.
am. I'm doing a good job of that.
Embrace your
Jason
toxic
made me want to
masculinity.
cry tonight. To be honest, not you. You're irrelevant to me. But I do think that you, honestly, truly, like you have huge insecurities, and you also have these idealizations
Maybe
of
my
being
insecurities
somehow.
maybe my-
I'm talking. Do you know how to let anyone else talk? Like
I just
I know
got
I'm
bored.
just
My
a
bad.
vagina
I
over
got
here,
bored.
but
All right,
may
go
I-
ahead. Ashley.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
thanks for allowing me to do this. I appreciate it so that you can actually come back to me. But I think that you are an incredibly toxic
Fast forward.
man. And you do this as a way simply to try to A, get laid, B, become kind of polarizing on the internet, C, get likes, views and follows. And
Yes.
here's the right, and you're doing a good job. Proud of you. Kudos.
Okay.
But here's the thing is that you are attracting the type of male that honestly believes the fucking shit and rhetoric you're saying when you're just playing a character. You are playing a character online. In all honesty, you're
I
just
agree.
a big fucking nerd who never got laid until he was 20. And now here you are being like, I go into bars and you're using your internet clout because you got some overnight fame being an Andrew Tate, Myron Gaines type, right? I was around before them. Yeah, but nobody fucking heard of you before them. Why do you think that is? You are a loser. That's the whole thing. And you're getting off on making this whole thing that you actually have something to say when the truth is, here's what you are. Zherka.
Wrap it up. Let's go.
I'm going to continue to say these
Wrap it
triggering
up, Ashley.
statements that everyone knows isn't true because I know that they get likes and views. And I'm going to get laid because of it. And here I am coming on a debate panel completely unprepared, seemingly
Good night,
possibly
Ashley.
drunk. I don't know, unless this is your normal self. I've seen you actually be way more calibrated than this. So it seems like you didn't take tonight very seriously. It seems like you're just kind of really super
Ashley,
just.
tonight
I'm gonna
having
take a piss
beer-
real quick.
Tonight I'm having
Don't
a
blame me,
beer with
Alex.
Tonight I'm having a beer with your 12-year long ex-husband. Tonight we drink to your bones because you're gonna die alone with this attitude. I'm trying to help you. You're gonna die alone. No,
Well, you're gonna die because
You're being a
right that your
feminazi.
parents
You're a feminazi.
you.
You're like
Yeah.
Zeke Island, all that stuff. You're a Nazi. You're a feminist.
Know that the sex and relationship won't be good. So you're very pathetic. You're honestly way more pathetic than me. At least I
What
live.
did your ex-husband look like? Did he look like
Why
me?
does that matter? Why do you care? I'm not going to dox my family and talk about them.
No, but did he look like me?
Fuck no. You admit
That's
you
right.
admit
That's
Ashley,
right.
you admit that
That's
you're not
right.
very good looking. You admit that you're not. And you aren't.
I do it so you guys don't harm yourselves.
Okie dokie.
This might be a good opportunity to go into the Q&A. We're going to move fast. Do want to remind you folks a couple of things. One, you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. We have many more juicy debates coming up.
I won't be participating in them, but.
Oh, you're ready.
You got it. We're going to jump into the Q&A.
He's
So,
rage quitting. Yo,
thank you very much for your
I'm not
question.
rage quitting.
All right.
I'm going to be here till
Moving
the
to
end,
next one.
my guy.
This one from Malavia says, John, you're a failed comedian. Enough with the shtick. More people in this country go to the gym than at any other time in human history.
Okay, Chatter, you're right. I would trade lives with you.
This
I don't
one
blame you.
coming in from Von Zoom says, much love, modern day debate. As an Army vet, John is correct on different physical standards. It's corporate America brainwashing people for profit.
Base.
I would agree with that largely too.
Any thoughts, anyone else?
Nope, no thoughts.
We're good. By the way, Von Zoom,
Hey,
thanks
give this
for
dude
serving. Hold on,
give
shut
him an
up.
HP potion.
Shut up. Von Zoom, thanks for serving in our military. We do appreciate that. All right, sir.
Yes,
what
thank you.
insightful
Thank you
comments
for
did you
going
want
to
to
the
make?
military.
What? Okay, whatever. Von Zoom.
Can we thank the Army
Question
man for
for,
the United
I give you a
Corporation
chance.
of
They
the
say, question
USA?
for Hunter. Would you agree that toxic masculinity is a marketing ploy?
No, I don't know what that even, I don't even know what that means exactly. How would it be a marketing ploy?
Do you see this one coming from Thunderstorm? Says, stop eating soy. Alex, you been eating soy?
Yes.
So I haven't
There
eaten.
are studies out
I
there
haven't
that
eaten
show
soy in a
soy
decade. Soy is horrible for you as a man. I haven't eaten soy in like at least
Well,
9
I
there's-
years.
eat a bunch of soy every day, and I think of
Thank
Zherka
you,
while
Hunter.
doing it.
We know. But Ashley,
That
what do
is
you-
not, it's not actually, there's actually studies out there refuting that soy increases your estrogen levels as men. That's, anyway, it's a good
This
source
one.
of protein. Plant protein is good.
But you guys gotta.
It's also, just as a complete side note, it's also like dominated by one company, Monsanto, which are like horrible, the worst fucking company on the planet. And they like are just guilty of so much shady shit. So either way.
I did watch that documentary.
And Monsanto, you know what's funny is Monsanto, just like every other billion-dollar corporation industry,
No one believes
NGO,
anything you say anymore.
all of them, what they all have in common is they're all liberal.
You know what's
You guys.
Actually, I don't think the companies are liberal or conservative. They just want to make as much
Oh
money
really?
as possible.
They don't change their profile picture to the LGBT
That's
flag.
Zherka, you're
Zherka,
Really?
but that's because
Are
that
you
makes
kidding me, Alex?
Zherka, but
Are
that's
you
because
kidding me?
it makes them more money. They don't actually care about that. They just want the money.
That's my point. Is their side is evil with the corporations.
Right, but they just know that being liberal is going to get you more money and more social
So they're
acceptance.
not all money. That they're not all liberal and evil. Because I mean, haven't you even heard people talk about how much Disney, for example, donates to like anti-LGBT politicians or whatnot? This notion that just because like they had a trans person on their Twitter account during Pride Month, like it means that somehow the liberal agenda is taking everything over.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not about principles. It's all about making as much money as possible. These companies
you're trying
have no
to combat
principles.
Zherka with things that are called facts and actual research, and he doesn't have them. All he has are trigger statements and
I'm
like.
pretty sure Zherka's just getting off on everybody.
Exactly.
Actually, you live in a closet. Look at my swimming pool, though. Is it some
Yeah,
failed
that you
comedian?
share a house with a lot of other men.
Where are they?
I heard
We invited
you
like
say
the
it,
we
There's
invited like the
nobody here,
frat boy.
Ashley. There's
Yeah,
nobody
No,
here.
you said it the other day. It's on stream. Like
Oh,
you
yo,
share a
Ashley's
house with other
ex-husband.
people who are
Ashley,
creative.
it's your ex-husband. He's here.
I highly doubt that. All right, let's go to the next one. Von Zoom says, question for Ashley. Say, why are women, or in particular, why are you as a woman, telling men how to be men when you don't have the perspective of being a man?
Here's why, because I was asked to come on this panel and debate are men becoming more feminine or wimpy nowadays. And so I agreed because I enjoy a good debate. And I think that as a society, men and women both equally share a part in how that goes forward. Do we not? Do we not? So
Yes.
as a woman, I was asked to come here today and I was asked to give my point of view on this, and that's what I'm fucking doing. That's why. How's that?
Yeah, I do. To be fair to Ashley, I want to give credit because one, it is true that Ashley's speaking on this because I invited her. So you might think like, but how, she should have turned it down. And I would say, no, she shouldn't have, because one, I actually like it when people who are like not of the conventional, like who you'd expect being in the debate, are actually in the debate. So for example, sometimes we have Canadians debating on whether or not the United States has good gun control. Like, I like that because you're like, well, we should just have Americans. It's like, why does it just have to be Americans? So to be fair that way, so I also have to say, Ashley has come into the lion's den tonight. So I do appreciate that, Ashley, because it is.
She got butchered.
There are some people out there are hostile. And so in the live chat, I do want to remind you not to attack the guests, as we do appreciate
It's all
that.
good.
Can I
I'm gonna do it
quickly,
after the break tonight.
Someone,
James? Can I quickly read a comment I wrote for my chat because I think it's a good one.
Yes. What did you got?
I was just gonna say.
I'm sorry. There's so many people.
Go ahead, Ashley. You can finish. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, James, I'm sorry. Like, I honestly, like.
oh,
I
here we go for apology.
Hold on, but Zherka, for real. Because I have to be fair. Like, actually, I was really hard on you. I do want to say this publicly.
I took it really hard. And
it's fair. Oh, sorry.
it hit me bad, and like it kind of ruined my whole debate dynamic from there on out. I just felt like
That's why you lost?
All right, I've got John on mute. I hear you, Ashley.
It just kind of did kind of like, I don't know, just kind of ruined my whole like dynamic, and I shouldn't have let it. And it's a good experience though, because like for me, like I know that I need to be able to come back from this. I've gone through a lot of shit in the last few days in my personal life, and like, so I just not on my A game. But anyway, James, like,
No,
I don't know.
totally.
I just hope we're cool, because like,
No, we're totally
I'm
cool. Sorry
sorry,
for interrupting you. I just wanted to say, if I could go back, what I would not have said is because this is where I was like, I put extra sauce on it when I said like, I don't know how you could be so self-aware. I'm really sorry. That was me.
I
just
felt
being
really
cranky.
attacked.
And you're right. Like, I went beyond what I should have said. One reason that I'm like extra triggered tonight, and I should have said it before we went live. I should have just called you out then, and then it wouldn't have happened during the live stream. But the other thing is, no joke, during this debate, I've been like handling someone wanting to like get into legal stuff on modern day debate. In other words, like after me potentially. So that's why I'm like especially stressed. Although Alex can tell you,
My sister died 3 days ago.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
So for me, like, I'm going through some shit right now, like, honestly, and like, I no, just to be fair too, like, I'm not on my A game. Perhaps I should not have come on tonight, but like, I was looking forward to it. So like, everything that's been happening, I'm just like, really just, maybe I shouldn't have come on tonight. Like, this is pretty, but when you said that, it like, because you and I talk so much, I was like, oh shit, like, I just felt the world coming down to me, and I was like, fuck, like.
I promise, no. Like I said, I've just been under stress. One time I told Daniel Hakikachu, a popular Muslim debater we have on, I basically told him in front of everybody during the debate that he was losing the debate. So like, sometimes I go too far, and I'm sorry about that. So we're cool. This one coming in from?
Oh wait, can I read the thing that I was going to say real quick, or do we not have
go
time?
ahead.
Oh, this is just addressing the earlier point, but okay, it's going to seem like very out of context now, but fuck it. Big corporations are all about maximizing profit. Right now, there's more money in playing into the woke theme. That's the day that changes. These companies will completely abandon what they're saying now and become conservative. So it's all about money. It has nothing to do with principles. So that's the only thing I was going to say. All right, keep going.
You got it. Any thoughts on that? Anybody else? Okay, this one coming in from, do appreciate it. Coffee Lover says Von Zoom. They're responding to the person who originally said, "Why is Ashley as a woman, telling men how to behave?" And the Coffee Lover in a super chat responded to Von Zoom and said, "Why are men telling women how to be women when men have no perspective of that?" In other words, I think they were saying like, "Well, why are you trying to pressure Ashley?" So it's kind of like that old like, are you being judgmental by calling someone, anyway, not you, it's a bad. Ozzy and Talk says suicide rates dropped from 1950 to 2000. Why is this?
I would have to look at the stats about that. I thought that the suicide rates had like some fluctuation. I didn't think that there was a large decrease, but
I don't think there is. When did he say the suicide rate decreased?
2000.
If it is, it's extremely minor, not substantial, as far as I understand.
I would think that I don't know. My best guess would be that mental health care and awareness has been made more prevalent and accessible. That would be my best guess.
We had a massive like rise in suicides, I believe, in like the 50s or 60s. Don't quote me on that, but one of those. And then there's something that happened like in the 70s or 80s where they started going down, but then it kind of did one of these. So I believe, as far as I understand, it's either equal or going up. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it looks like it's going up. I mean, if it were going down, then
yeah, that's the statistic I read too. So I don't know where he's getting it from.
No, ever since everyone got an iPhone and the highest purchasing power we've ever seen in consumer society, despair, anxiety, depression has skyrocketed.
Yeah.
So I know the suicide rate went up. Everyone knows that. That's the whole point of these debates. And
That's actually a really good point, Zherka.
Yes, and where does all this despair come from? It's because we walked away from the church, right?
Okay, no.
No.
Keeping up with the Joneses. Keeping up with the Joneses.
First and foremost, no, this is just complete bullshit. Second of all, I'm looking at the statistics here on Statista, and actually suicides peaked over here in 1990, especially for men. 2007 being when the iPhone came out, we only saw like a slight increase here from 18.1 to now we're at 22.8. So still an increase over time, but it's not like there's this stark, huge uptick because people left the church or something. That's no.
Well, I mean, since the 1960s sexual revolution, that's really when all the problems started. Because when the Americans were a God-fearing society, they didn't have these problems of like getting roofied at bars and like not every girl's getting fucking molested at parties and all this
That's
stuff.
because back then,
because women were married, they were taking care of kids.
No, because actually the time in which you're referring to being the 50s and 60s, domestic abuse and rape was not even usually processed as a legal problem. It was treated specifically, actually, child molestation by.
Hold on.
Fake news.
The greatest fake news I've ever heard. You're telling me women deal with more molestation and creeps now or in 1950s?
What I'm saying is I don't know. It would probably
just answer directly. What do you think? You don't have to know.
It seems like there's more now, but that's because it wasn't prior or it wasn't recorded.
I think more so now because.
Well, hold on, wait. Sorry. Zherka, are you lost, my friend? Are you okay right now? Are you?
Again, can we
say when
please
you're
go back
losing?
to like
Answer them.
social
You know what's funny is
I have told you already that.
This is why I troll. Because this is why I like to troll. Because you're not answering me. You're not even debating. You're just.
No, you like to troll for clicks and views.
Are you talking to me right now? How am I not
And so you can
debating?
live in your little.
Yeah, fucking soy boy retard seizure. Answer the fucking question. Do you agree that there's more creeps and molestation now or in the 1950s? Obviously,
the reason is because of social media technology.
I literally acknowledged you and I said it seems like you're taking a break. No, shut the fuck up, sir.
You don't have any more.
You want to get everybody pissed off.
We ran out of L's for us.
You're getting.
No, in the 1950s, we could not go online and elicit young men or young women into sexual situations. Okay.
Oh, because of the digital
break.
age. That's the difference. Is that your argument? Your argument is that the digital age is what expanded it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only thing, right? That's the only
It's
thing.
a completely
And what I
valid
said
argument.
is that, and what I said is, it sure seems like there's more creeps nowadays, but that's because you're comparing it to a time like the 1950s.
Just here,
when that wasn't being tracked very well. So there's no way by which we can actually
Nor
measure.
was the accessibility even close to the accessibility.
And let's not forget one tiny little variable for you little DNC run Satanists. The women were at home with kids. If there was a rape or molestation, it would have been marital, which the statistics are so fucking low, it's not even worth talking about.
That's because marital rape was not considered rape at the time. You're actually making the argument for me.
The point I'm making
marital
is
rape at the time was specifically not.
Zherka, just don't.
Hold on, Hunter.
Is it
worse?
Do your Russian fist handle shit?
Is it worse to be a woman 2023? If you're a woman, let's say you believe. Okay, Hunter,
I
let's
can
say you
already
want to.
answer this question. It
I
is
Let's
would
say
the
you want to cut.
No, please, he's
at
asking me a
least
question
you
I can
know how
answer. It is
to-
the worst is to be a woman who exists in the same time period as you, Zherka. That's the correct answer.
Oh
here,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
It's the objectively correct answer.
That's cute. That's cute. Okay.
Let's go to the next
All
one. Do want to say thank you very much for your question. Alternate Tech says Hunter keeps accusing John of being abusive. Low IQ.
Drew, my feelings are hurt. Hey, can we have a group therapy session again?
So whoever put that in the chat, I don't know if maybe they've
Definitely
been
do.
watching it. I think they may have been watching like a different stream and then donated on the wrong super chat.
Roger drinking water, bro.
I have not accused anybody of abuse this single time. This whole
Did she attack me for drinking water?
This one from Von Zoom says, apologies, James, no disrespect intended. See, Ashley, there was even actually a person in chat that I got into a quarrel with. So I'm just I'm a little bit more
No,
testy.
shit happens, bro.
This
Like,
one from-
I'm sorry too.
Totally cool, no worries. It's the internet.
Shit happens,
All
man.
this
Shit
water under the
happens.
bridge.
It's the internet.
This is Von Zoom. Von Zoom, for real, no problem. Don't worry about it. I just get annoyed when people try to tell me what to do. But all is forgiven, Von Zoom. Night Shift 1 million says men today are totally too soft. And also said, is that Hunter Avallone or Weezer? If you want to destroy my sweater, pull the thread and walk away. Is that a Weezer?
You want
I think
to
that's a-
destroy my
I think that's a Weezer lyric, maybe. Yeah.
Wow, the good old days.
Indeed.
I had a good middle school days. This one from Night Shift 1 million says, goodness, Ashley. So you're not a fan of you, Ashley.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm okay. I can handle it.
Thunderstorm says, as a blue-eyed 6-foot white man, I'm not paying attention. Hi, Ashley, with a smiley face. What does that mean?
He's trying to smash.
Is he trying to seduce Ashley? This is
Is he-
Peter
I
Zotti.
seriously doubt that.
Peter
Right,
Zotti
you
says,
would.
any fathers in the panel, not a father, not a man. Woo!
I win. Suck it, Zherka.
That's
Yeah,
nonsense.
Yes.
You win until your kid grows up and realizes his dad is a Democrat.
You could have gotten such a better. Wait, come on, dude. No, Zherka, please. You had the chance.
Aren't you
to
worried
say-
about that day?
Zherka,
My
you
dad
could
is
have.
a Democrat,
Zherka, you
beat
could
up
have said
hell. Oh my
no,
God.
Hunter. You
I
would
don't
have
feel
won, but
safe.
then you could have said Hunter. You would have won until you get a DNA test. You could have roasted me so much better, dude.
Or is it a boy or a girl?
I have a boy and a girl.
God bless you. Wow.
Oh, I love it. How old are they, Hunter?
Are you teaching them?
I'm just a
Are
little
you-
bit
hold on,
disappointed that
Hunter, are
Zherka
you
had a
also-
chance to
are you-
actually roast me and kind of butchered it.
I'm not roasting you. I'm asking honest
You
questions.
can't
Are you,
actually roast anything or
Okay.
anyone. He's a moron. That's the point, Hunter.
Ashley? Thank you for telling the
I'm
world
sorry.
your truth. Don't apologize. That's weak. That's
Oh, not to
feminine.
you. No, to Hunter.
Okay, well, Freudian slip. I think it was towards me. But Hunter, are you going to also?
That's
teach
not the
your-
definition of a Freudian slip.
Hunter, are you
Moron.
going to teach your son to cut his dick
You're so
off
fucking
like
stupid.
like the rest
I
of your
love it.
like the rest of your friends? Are you going to teach your son to cut his dick off, Hunter? What are you going to teach your son about pregnant? Yeah, what are you
this one.
What are you going to
In order to keep my
teach
son
your
safe,
son?
I'm going to keep him away from people like you who is obsessed with children.
Are you going to teach your kid to cut his
Let's
dick
go
off?
to the
and take
next
hormone
one.
bucks?
No, I'm going to say
Is your
stay
son
away
gonna
from the
take
guy
hormone
talking
bucks?
about the
from
penis.
Is your son
Ozzy
going to
and
take hormone
Fox.
bucks? What if your
Let's
son
say stay
wants
away
to
from
take
the-
hormone bucks?
No, I'm going to
I
say,
have to
Timmy, you
put
see
you
the
on
adult man
mute.
over
Yikes.
there? Stay away from
Guys.
him, okay? He's talking
This
about
one coming in from Ozzy and Talk says, Zherka, in the meta debate about you, why did Ashley beat you?
Can you refresh my memory? Which part? I don't remember actually winning ever in life.
This one coming in from Hake of the Hake Report. Amazing. Says, shout out, let's see, to the gentlemen, ladies, ma'am, males, and females. Thank you for that. Agent Black says, big up to Hake for that donation. Much respect. Wow.
Wait, James, I got a question.
What is it?
Like, what do you think? Do you think if Hunter's son wants hormone blockers at 14 and to cut his dick off, like, what do you think Hunter's going to say? Is he going to be very progressive there, or is he going to change his tune?
You'd have to ask Hunter what his
Hunter,
thoughts
yeah, I'll ask Hunter. You're right. James is too good looking for me. Go ahead, Hunter.
are.
I'd be more than happy to talk with you about who is better looking. Maybe we can have a conversation about the
Dodge.
genitals that you seem very.
Dog,
very
what happens if your kid? It's a genuine question. What happens if your kid wants to
and
cut
I
his
would
dick
be
off?
more than happy to give you a genuine answer when you want to come on my stream and talk. When this has nothing to do with the
You
subject.
won't do it here.
Well, we're ending, the debate panel is supposed to end in 3
Just
minutes.
a yes or no. Just a yes
Yeah,
or no. If your kid
My
wants
food's
to,
about to be here and whatnot, so.
your food, your
Thanks,
My
Hunter.
soy. I ordered
are my
some
food.
soy
You got
milk.
ate alive. I ate
I
you
ordered
alive
some
today.
soy
You were
milk.
my food today.
All
You're
right,
my Uber
let's
Eats
go.
today.
Okay, let's go to the next question. And then it's totally
It's
okay,
this.
Hunter. What I'm going to do is any questions that are for you, I'm going to read them. And then I do want everybody to agree. If Hunter has to leave the Zoom call in 2 minutes, I want everybody to agree that you're not going to talk about him after he leaves, because that wouldn't be fair when he's not here to defend himself.
I would never.
Hunter, if you have to go, it's totally okay. Because
If there's
it's
any
fair,
more, I mean, if there's any more questions for me, yeah, but if not, I am gonna have to split.
I have one question for you, Hunter.
Hey, Hunter, it was, hold on, my turn. Hunter, it was nice, debating with you tonight. You're a cool dude. Nice to meet you. I've watched a lot of your stuff, and I've actually shared a lot of your stuff, in the past, so.
Very based. Well,
Which
thank you
Hunter?
so much. Appreciate it.
The successful Hunter, or did you
I've debated with your wife before too, by the way.
Me too.
So have I, yeah.
Well, either way, I appreciate, thanks so much, James, for having me on. Zherka, once again, I appreciate you sucking me dry multiple different times today. It's been very nice.
What if your son wants
Either way,
to
have
cut
the
his
rest
dick
of
off, Hunter?
the rest of your day. And
Dad,
Zherka, why don't we have another debate? Hey,
Dad, I want to
Zherka,
cut my dick
Zherka,
off. Is that
Zherka,
okay? Is
Zherka.
that okay? Can I cut Dad? Can I cut my dick off?
I guess
All
I'll
right.
just-
God, he's so gross.
Again,
All right.
Zherka, we can talk sometime else, but again, if you could please stop talking about children's
He's just
genitalia,
like a
that might be
walking
good for you.
meme.
But thanks, James.
Thank you, Hunter.
Take
Have a good
care,
night.
dude.
What I'm
Bye,
going to do is
Hunter.
adjust the pictures on Zoom in case they get scrambled, or I should say OBS in case they get scrambled. So if you're watching live here at Modern Day Debate, want to let you know why the screen looks that way. It's just because Zoom readjusts when someone has to leave. I'm going to put a poll in the chat here at Modern Day Debate. So if you're watching live over at Playing with Fire or anywhere else, I'm not sure where else it might be streamed, you can come over and vote on this poll on whether or not men today are men today more
I
wimpy.
have to go to the bathroom so bad. I've been holding
Go.
it for like an hour. I'm so sorry. I'll BRB, like super
No
quick.
problem. Go for it.
Zherka, I had no idea you had this much conflict with Hunter. What's the backstory? I think everyone's curious.
Well, let's not, without him being here, I just don't, I know that it's possible Zherka could give the backstory without slamming Hunter, but I do really, I don't.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
So I hate to do that.
That's
Sorry
fine,
for
that's fine.
shutting you
No
down,
worries.
Alex. But this one coming in from, bear with me, folks, as they fix the screen. I'll ask the next question at least. Vio Van Gogh says, does Hunter think goodies originating from universities overwrought with feminist queer ideology, claiming, quote, masculinity is bad, can be trusted? What are scooties or scuddies?
I have no idea.
Is that a bad word?
I
Hey,
don't know.
Zherka, I'm letting you out of your cage for a second.
Yes, James. No, basically, I don't like traitors, like political traitors, because you guys got to remember
Hold
why.
on, Ari, not about Hunter,
No, I'm
though.
not talking about it. I'm not talking about it. But I'm saying why I dislike feminists and stuff like that is you got to remember the first time I ever dealt with the thought of suicide was I lost my dream jobs. I lost all my friends to jokes I was making that were too edgy. So I lost my whole world to this liberal world, and now I'm fighting back, and I'm winning, and I'm ruthless, and we are taking over. This is dark MAGA in this bitch. And so when you guys think I just wake up angry, no, I'm at war with evil. These people, I've never done anything to the liberal world. They just started coming up to me and trying to get my son to cut his cock off and shit. And so they started the war. So don't think I'm an aggressor. I'm a reactionary.
You got it. And this one coming in from Stay Curious says, I don't think I've ever seen a bigger fool than Zherk. Wow.
Yeah, your mom's a whore. Tell that chatter his mom's a whore.
All right. This one from Agent Black says, we got that one. Ozzy and Talk says, non-wimps, Alex, Ashley, and Hunter. Wimps, John. All right. This one from Alternate Keck, we got that one. The Trib One says, does Alex like Zherka as his debate running mate?
Yeah, we get along.
Yeah, me and Zherka get along, except for the fact that he's been ghosting on me recently. But aside from that, we're cool.
No, I'll be on this week. But the problem I have with Alex is the same problem I have with everyone. Is Alex believes there's like a middle ground where you can actually compromise with these kind of Satanists, and they will turn on Alex. Like one in the chat, if you agree, Alex is gonna build friends like Ashley and Hunter, and they're gonna turn on him they're gonna make up some allegations and destroy his whole career, and then I get to do the "I told you so" parade. So I'm not that much more extreme than what he's actually thinking. It's just he wants to move in a political way, and I think it's dangerous to make friends and allies with people who have no soul. They sold their soul.
That may all be true. I don't know what that has to do with I don't know.
I'm saying we agree a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Admit it.
You agree a lot.
You know what's funny, Zherka, is
Alex is also more intelligent than you and actually uses stats and data when he debates and argues things
when
rather
you
than
talk,
just
it sounds like you're having every time you
Exactly.
speak,
Here you
it
go,
sounds
right
like you're
now.
having. It sounds like you're having. Here it comes. Here's 1,000% damage. Hang in there. When you speak, it sounds like you're having an aneurysm. Like there's no momentum. You go, well,
Exactly.
Alex is more
and
intelligent.
this is how somebody is differentiated.
You're doing it again. There's the aneurysm. Your
This
brain
is why
is
you and
bleeding.
Alex are on different levels because you are just a troll with no intelligence who uses ad hominems and just trigger words and statements.
No, your
Alex?
ex-husband was the troll.
Exactly. See, like you have
He
no
told
idea
you for
about
12
anything.
years.
Gotta
You're
move
being
it.
disgusting right now. And like Alex actually pulls up stats and data and has real conversations.
Hold the tears in.
People,
Hold the
which
tears
is
in.
why his longevity.
Are you going to take me to the principal's
I am
office?
thinking.
Gotta go to the next one.
Anyway, I just want to say it's why Alex's longevity is going to outlast yours, Zherka, because the gun emoji,
Hey.
cool. But somebody clip
Oh,
that.
is
That
this
was-
dangerous?
that
Is
was
this
cute.
triggering?
This one's
Can
coming
I
in
do this?
from,
Can
I
do some
gotta do
hand
this, I
signs?
hate to do it, but I do
You're
it for fun.
great.
This is from The Trib1, says, it's amazing how much Zherka derails, seems planned, can all give their take on if women will start ultimately taking charge, or if men will get better emotionally and get back on track as far as leading goes.
I don't see it getting better.
I don't see it getting better.
No,
for
Ashley,
people
Ashley,
like
watch
John
out, I got a
Zherka.
weapon.
Hold on, we gotta give her a chance
Ashley,
to talk.
I got 2 weapons. Watch out.
You understand that it
Fucking
is
dumb Democrats.
no, it's actually just the symbolism, bro. I
Oh,
would
is
never
it fingering?
I would never make a
Were you
symbolism
attacked by
like-
Were you attacked by finger guns before? Maybe.
It's the
All right.
symbolism of you saying that you would shoot somebody because you don't like them. Yes, that's very funny.
Okay, we're going to the next one. I let's see.
Wow,
This one from
James.
Pancho says, I don't blame Zherka for trolling. It's hard to keep a straight face with someone promoting the idea that you should whine to your girl. I don't remember that. Oh, never mind. We'll go to the next one. This
Talk
one
about
from,
Hunter Avallone. He's talking
all
about
right, let's go to the next one. The Trib1 says, can all give, to be fair, that's I don't know if that's the most charitable way of framing Hunter's argument since he's not here. Well,
Right.
but this one from
Watch
the
out,
Trib1.
watch out, James. I'm all over the road according to Ashley.
This one says, hates stairs. Says, honest question, why give Zherka any airtime or platform? He derails every debate ever. Well, we do want to give everybody a shot, as long as they're within YouTube terms of service, which, John, you get close sometimes. I don't even know about the R word, so I'm a little bit uncomfortable with the stream. I've got to check.
No, you're good on that. I use that word all the time on my channel.
Okay,
Yeah.
That is in terms of service?
It's
Yeah,
there's
it
no
is.
problem. Yeah. No,
Even then,
It's
No,
it's
no,
very
James, I
funny,
want to
but-
hurt you. I haven't said the N-word once today. Like, I'm doing great for you guys.
I do want to, one thing that, let's see, that I have to consider, but I'll talk about it in the after show. Folks, so I've got a few more questions to go through. We'll have an after show where I'll talk about, it's not going to be about anyone in particular. It's just about like what words are allowed on modern day debate, because even if terms of service allows it, there are some words that I'm like, well.
You don't want your image, yeah.
It makes you wonder, it's like if I say like, hey, we want everybody to feel welcome, but then Zherka's calling people a retard, it's like, well, does everybody feel welcome? But I've got to mull that over. It's something I am considering. But as much as I love everybody telling me how to run modern day debate, if you're in the live chat right now, I haven't even looked, but if you're in the live chat telling me which way to go, don't do that. I'm tired of people trying to tell me how to lead. This one from Kyle James says, Zherka, have you considered getting a Subway tattoo?
Honestly, just to piss James off, I feel like with my platform, James, I can get. You got $65,000 worth of free sandwiches.
50,000.
Okay, I think I could get 65. I could talk to you if I called that. Is he a pedophile? The guy.
Zherka, maybe you could lose weight if you went on a diet program like that. That would be really good for your dad body.
Actually, help me. I want to be as ripped as you.
Zherka is, or not Zherka.
Yeah, you should want that.
Fucking hilarious.
Absolutely.
Actually, every time you speak,
maybe your erection would last long enough to please a woman without yelling.
All right,
I'm
enough
sorry.
of this.
Tell it to your ex-husband.
The Trip One says, "Is Alex happy or sad that Zherka was his partner?" You don't have to answer.
No, I'm cool with Zherka. I'm cool with Zherka. I like Zherka. You know, minus the fact that he ignores me on Discord. We're cool. I like him.
To be fair, Alex likes everyone, which is part of what I love about him.
Zen 2011.
By the way, it's a random side note. Zherka, your brother was asking me for Tinder help. I helped him a little bit.
My brother?
Yeah, he messaged me.
Wow.
My brother doesn't use media.
On Instagram, yeah. He said he was your brother.
Oh, dude, that's not my brother. My brothers are both professionals. Like
it was using that username that we did the call from. So it was a username that you have access to, unless it's one of your friends.
Oh, it's definitely someone trolling you.
Okay, I'll send you the screenshot later.
So it sounds just like your brother.
No, my brothers are professionals, and honestly, why I troll is because you didn't answer any of that. Like when you rewatch this debate, Ashley, you're gonna realize that every time Ashley speaks, you prove to the world you're an idiot. You didn't answer one, like nothing. You just—it's like,
I wasn't really allowed to, Zherka. So, but
oh yeah, because
if you ever want to,
James brought the Gestapo, right? You liberal white women got to
let's actually hear it.
immigrants like me.
Zherka,
You liberal white women got.
Go ahead, Ashley. What's up?
If you would ever like to have a follow-up debate, I would be very happy to answer anything you have to say. I'd be very happy to do that. Incredibly, actually.
This one coming in from, do appreciate it. The Trip One says, was Zherka derailing on purpose for Zherka and James? Zherka does interrupt an awful lot, but I don't know whether or not.
It's not derailing to get to the fucking point. Like, does everyone want to hear Ashley go in fucking circles just to like, she took 40 minutes to say Zherka's toxic, but Alex is cool. I give Alex the feminist card. Like, he gets a pass. Bro, that's time wasting. That's like, we're here for Ashley trying to generate a thought for 40 minutes. Are we really here for that? I get to the point. So I say, hey, Hunter.
You're definitely here for that.
Look how quickly I get to the point. I go, Ashley, let me ask you, if you had a son, would you, he's a teenager, and he said, Mommy, I want to cut my dick off and be progressive like with my friends.
You asked Hunter that, not me.
Would you be cool with that, Ashley?
You asked Hunter that, not me.
I'm asking you right
so
now.
So you're wrong.
I literally said I'm asking you right now.
Like, no, you didn't. You said you asked me earlier. You're wrong.
Okay, all right, let me try it again. Okay, I'm asking you right now.
No, we can do this in our follow-up debate.
Why can nobody answer a simple yes or no?
We've got to.
Are you derailing? Are you derailing me?
That's why.
You've got to move to the next one.
Totally derailing you.
Okay, wait, Alex, if you're
please, Zherka, we got to move on.
I'm having a mental breakdown, Jake.
Alex, we can tell.
I hate to do this. We have to go to the next one. Kyle James asks Zherka, I'm sure this will be insightful. Do you think James is a powerful man?
Honestly, I know James's background. You believe in God. You debated for it too, which was kind of awesome, very base. And I know that you're the type of guy that you're just inclusive with everyone. Sometimes you let some demons on like Ashley and stuff, but you're definitely made. Like, the one thing we all click on your channel for is how you run it, not how those stupid crybabies in your chat who sent they sent $2 to change your whole business strategy. You run it correct. You're inclusive, right? Like, I don't even know how you get Ashley and all the people who were dropped as children. But my question is, Alex, this is to you. If your son came up to you at 15 and said, Dad, I want to cut my dick off, what would you say? Would you say yes or no?
I would do my best to talk them out of it.
Thank you for answering that. Look at that one honest man in the panel.
But but just to be clear, I don't think I would like disown my son or something. I would just do my absolute best to like talk them out of it.
Thank you.
Yeah. What about you, Ashley?
Did not ask me that, Zherka.
You have the courage
did
to
not
answer
ask
Ashley.
me that.
Is your liberal overlords watching? Are you afraid to answer this one? Is this too
You
much?
don't even know me. You know nothing about me, and you're
Why not
making
answer it?
assumptions.
Why not answer
Which is
it?
what makes you a weak debater. and
Why
a
not
real-
answer it, Ashley?
You're
This
a
is your
weak
chance.
debater.
This is your chance,
No,
Ashley.
my
Just answer
chance
it.
is no. Here's the thing. My chance is when I challenge you to have a debate between me and you. That's when.
All right,
And if
I'll come on your
you-
shit. I'll come on your
I'm
shit if
having
you
a
answer.
post. Listen, Zherka, I'm having a post-debate stream. If you'd like to
You're
come
having-
on,
You're having post-traumatic stress disorder from losing this one. Please answer. Would you let your child cut their
deflecting.
dick
You're
off?
deflecting. James
We
has
have
a
to move
panel to
forward.
run, and he's got to move on, bro. If you want to debate me on this, come see me after this because I will fucking own you, you bitch.
Ooh, kinky. Okay, this is
Kinky.
coming in from Dragon Stan. He says Zherka seems to be doing well, considering he said he had leukemia. Keep up the good work, modern day debate. Did you have leukemia? You recovered from leukemia?
Absolutely. As soon as Dan Dangler gives the money to the charity she scams, I heal 100%. So I'm just going to platform Dan Dangler scammed the charity. She needs to give the money to the cancer charity. Because my channel.
I have a feeling this is bad for me legally. Whoever you're talking about, let's go to the next one. Yay, Ian, Hunter, and Ashley. Would your one-liner advice be to someone who feels unattractive and may be seduced by the toxic masculinity culture to reconsider?
I don't quite understand that question. Please reread.
If there's a soy boy who feels like they've been duped by the toxic masculinity, ooh, I better not be tough, I better be soy. What advice would you give them?
Okay, so I'm sorry. I did get that, and he said, would your best advice be to reconsider? Okay, so yeah, I suppose, yeah, reconsider, and also just like look at maybe a lot of things that were said tonight by, your boy, John Zherka, who is a self-admitted, I use these tactics as a ploy and a trick and a way to get women into bed with me, even though really in real life, I'm a nerd who's a gamer that was never good at getting girls, and I lost my virginity when I was 20, but now,
When did
I
you
can
lose
yell
it?
at them and what does that matter? You want to go
You
into
probably
that?
lost it
You will.
early, right? You lost it early.
17 years old.
You're a fucking, that's a child.
Exactly. It doesn't matter
Ew,
what
what
number
the
I
fuck?
see, ladies and
Ew,
gentlemen.
no wonder
It
you're
doesn't
fucked
matter.
up.
No, actually,
wonder you're
I digress.
deteriorating.
It was 13. It was 13. I lost it when I was 13.
Yeah, no, you
I'm
already
joking.
said
I'm
17.
joking. It was when I was
No, it was
20.
17.
I was 21.
No, it was 17. You were
This
this
one
It
coming in
doesn't
from-
matter. It doesn't matter. That's
This
the
one
point.
coming-
Yes, it does.
This one from Hake, like 90 going north, says happy AAPI month / Mother's Day, parentheses, they have second mothers and are doing the best, and are masculine as heck. What is AAPI?
He's saying Ashley's masculine.
Absolutely, I am. I'm very masculine. Lots of testosterone pumping through these things, which actually, that's a point I wanted to make earlier. So testosterone is also prevalent and evident in women's blood work. And the higher the testosterone level in women, the higher the sex drive.
That's true.
So just wanted to say, yeah.
You see this one from Kyle James says Hunter / Ashley. Let's just go with Ashley. Do you think Democrats or Republican men are stronger physically?
Do I think Republicans or Democrats are stronger physically?
On average.
On average, I think there's
It's like
no way I
plumbers
could answer
versus
that.
silicone.
That's
Ashley,
ridiculous.
give her a chance. I want to actually hear what she's got to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous question. Like, I've known so many from each side that are incredibly masculine.
I think they're asking like an
Masculine.
average though.
On average,
Like if you took how to you add everybody's
Republican
score.
or Democrat, I don't think there's any way you could say that, because look at the diversity of the United States. Like if you go to like the red states and blue states, I think that the better way to answer that question is how liberal or how unliberal, like how liberal do you want to be and how much does that affect your
He's
masculinity?
dodging again. He's dodging
No,
is
I'm
way
not.
worse
I'm not.
than
I'm
you.
actually answering a question in a way
No, you're
that's
not.
like,
You're not even
that's
answering it.
It's actually thoughtful, and it's actually putting data and stats and facts into things rather than you who just likes to say something.
Okay, let me help you. Let me
clickbait.
help your.
You're
okay,
such
let me
a
help
fucking bitch. You are the biggest bitch I've ever met in my life. I bet your penis is tiny. Sorry.
Okay, all right. Yeah, no, I have
I
a lot
really
too.
bet it is, though.
My penis is tiny. I have so much.
I know. You said you're very bad at sex. I get it.
I know. No, I have
understand.
so. I have actually. I have so much.
You
my penis is
probably
tiny.
need Viagra. You know you can get
I
that
do.
online.
I'm telling you, my penis is tiny. I need Viagra, and I have a lot.
No, I believe it. You said it yourself online.
I'm telling you right
you
now.
want
I
to
have
see
the
him
small.
say this? Go back and
Ashley,
watch
I'm telling you
Morris's
from the
interview
bottom
with
of my
him,
heart.
where he literally admits that he's terrible in bed.
Yeah,
And that
Ashley,
he literally
I'm admitting.
just uses
he's
so full of shit.
Ashley, I admit I have a small penis. I need Viagra. I have all the flaws of the man that abandoned me.
Hey, cool.
This one.
And Ashley, can I help you answer the question? Here, let me
No,
help.
you can just shut the fuck up and
Since you can't
like
answer-
everyone
Ashley,
can just know
remember
that
that-
you have a tiny penis and you're bad in bed. Like we get
Okay,
it.
remember, Ashley, the difference from Republicans and Democrats is Democrats, liberals, they score
They have
much
small
higher.
penises.
Just hang on,
and
just
ED.
hang on. Just keep your keep the peanut brain under control. The impulses.
My
could
peanut
be
brain,
over.
right?
Yes.
Okay, your peanut penis. Got it.
Okay, so the difference from liberal men and conservative men is
Loser.
liberal men score very high. Liberal
I'm
men
just gonna
score
start
very-
like using your fucking tactics on you. You are such a cringe piece of shit, no brain loser. That's what
We'll
you
go to
are.
the next one.
Get it out of your
let's see.
system, Ashley.
Wait, can I actually answer the
No.
question because it's an interesting question. So I'm gonna
You'll
preface it.
never answer.
I'm gonna preface.
No,
I'm
Alex,
not.
go ahead,
I'm
sorry.
gonna preface what I'm saying that I'm probably like closer to Democrat than Republican, but yeah, I think definitely Republican men are going to be on average more masculine than Democrat men from what I've seen.
And can I answer too? Liberal men score a lot higher in openness and agreeableness. That's why 90% of pedophiles are liberals. And conservative men, they don't actually agree with everyone. They become lawyers, doctors, they become plumbers, surgeons. But liberal men become like
And what
painters.
have you become? What have you become?
I've become your tormentor.
You've become a loser.
I've
Who sits online
humiliated
and
you.
spews out rhetoric from Andrew
are-
Tate and Myron Gaines and guys who have made it. And you pretend to be some fucking alpha male. What have you become, you loser? Fuck, just
You
mock
are-
yourself, bitch. Just
Big
mock
one. We're gonna
yourself.
move to the next
What
one.
a
This one's
nasty-
Really
Stay
good.
What a
curious.
That's so
nasty,
pathetic.
what a nasty
I have
person.
to go to the next one. This one
What a
Stay Curious says,
nasty woman.
Zherka, how big do you think BBCs are? Okay. You don't have to answer that.
So
Yes, I do.
BBC,
James, you
British
know I do.
Broadcasting Company.
I'll tell you this much, okay? BBCs are so big that anytime I see a white guy with a big dick, I say you betrayed our race, right? I don't
And
want
that's
to be around
probably
them.
a
'cause
lot.
it's just-
sorry.
You're pretty fucking gay.
Well,
This
I'm just
one's
saying
coming
that
in.
black men are born genetically superior in the cock area. Can we
Let's
And
go to
agree?
the
you're
next
born
question.
genetically
Let's see.
predispositioned to want to look at
This
these things.
one,
We get it.
Ashley
Bite
would have
Me
known.
XD says,
Ashley's
bite
husband did
stuff.
not
All
have
right,
a
I gotta
BBC.
go to the next question.
Yeah, the
They
CNN.
say bite. They say great stuff, guys. Love the back and forth. Hope you all have a great night. Thank you for that. Hake says shout out to the people dropped as BBS. What does BBS mean? Anybody know that?
No idea.
Me neither. They also. Oh, okay. Hake said when he said earlier AAPI. He said happy AAPI Day or Mother's Day. He said that means Asian American and Pacific Islander Month. Is it their month? Wow.
I'm a pretty bad fucking liberal for not knowing that, I guess.
I didn't know that either. Let's see here. I'm checking.
James, would you agree that Ashley is like very low IQ?
Would you
I have
change?
to go. I have
All
to go
right.
to the next question.
Ah,
As much
good
as I
one.
like you trying to drag me into your debate, this one coming in from, oh, actually, we're all caught up. Want to say, folks, we don't want to keep our guests here all night. They've got a lot of stuff going on. We want to let them go, want to let them rest. Want to say we do appreciate all of our guests, even Zherka to some extent. We want to say, there's a last question. Kyle James says, Zherka, do you think liberals have any courage? It's pretty obvious.
Of course they do not. On average, liberal men do not defend women. When women are being punched in the street by men, liberal men are nowhere to be found. It's always some toxic masculine guy saving
Where's your data?
Use your eyeballs, okay? And here's my data. Here's my data. You want data? I'll give you data, okay? Okay, save it for the BBC, Ashley.
That's you. That's the definition of you, Zherka.
I'll give you the data.
You are a big nothing. You are a big nobody. You are a big loser with nothing.
All right, let me give you the data. Do you at least agree that liberal men don't go into trade? And
so your data is trust me, bro? I'm saying I know.
No. I'm asking
you are so fucking lame. Oh my god.
Are you done? So do you agree, Ashley, that liberal men go more into the arts, music, painting, and not into trade?
I agree that you are going off of the stereotype that you have zero data. You have no data.
Ashley,
give me a statistic. Show me real data. Show me something. I'm calling you out, bro. Show me something. Where's the data?
Nobody disagrees. Nobody disagrees that liberal men are more artsy.
One in the chat. That's my fucking data. Shut the fuck up. You are so fucking pathetic.
So you disagree with that?
I'm going live after this, guys. I'm going to roast this motherfucking piece of shit. I have so much more to say. He is such a stupid ass piece of shit bitch. And he has no data to support anything other than trust me, bro, and it helps me get laid to be more toxic. You fucking
We're
piece
gonna move
of
into
shit.
the next one. 2 seconds as I load the screen. Want to say thanks very much, folks, for watching. At the Modern Day Debate community, we have some controversial topics and some controversial people, because our philosophy here is if ideas, or you could say the arguments, are better on one side, well, then those arguments will prevail. And so, Kyle, we got that one. Any, in terms of the defense of liberals and courage, does anybody have any thoughts? Well, Ashley just said, where's your data? Okay, fair enough.
I could comment on that.
What do you got?
I mean, I think on average, if we're talking averages, that yes, liberal men are probably going to be more wimpy. But I would say there's definitely some very tough fucking liberal dudes, and there's some very weak beta conservative men, like all the closet, the dudes who are fucking putting on girls' panties behind closed doors.
I
think in averages, Zherka's probably right, but this is not an absolute by any stretch.
No, I really wonder how many UFC fighters are against Trump. I really wonder that.
What the fuck does that matter? You're so fucking
stupid. But Zherka, that's a little bit different because Dana White has a very close relationship with Trump, and they look up to Dana White, and therefore by default they're going to look up to Trump.
No. Most fighters, most successful athletes, will be individualistic in thinking and more conservative.
Yeah, I mean, Trump has
You think Antifa is going to become a fucking quarterback?
No, but I think Trump has been to almost every UFC fight, so they're gonna want to be in favor of someone who supports them. I don't think Biden. I don't think Biden has ever. I don't think any Democrat has ever been to a UFC fight. So yeah, I think that plays a role.
Let's look at Floyd Mayweather, very pro-Trump. When you look at athletes, they're always pro-Trump because they're not Antifa, they're not collectivists. What is the? Actually, you are having a mental breakdown. It's not a good look for you, darling.
Right. Yeah.
Zherka, are you more in favor of Trump or DeSantis?
Trump. DeSantis is a Fed. He's literally with the DNC.
You don't think Trump is?
Absolutely not. Trump is the reason Ashley's having a fucking mental breakdown.
Yeah, absolutely.
She sees Trump in me.
You have no idea.
Zherka, is there any political candidate that you?
Piece of shit.
Zherka, is there any political candidate you prefer to Trump, or is he your number one?
In all of history, I like JFK. I like Nixon. But yeah, Trump will be my favorite because he came in a time where I was losing everything to women like Ashley. She's like the HR department trying to get you fired.
I'm glad that you know what's triggering about me now is that women like me who are so fucking amazing and base and smart and beautiful turned you down.
I don't know about that.
It makes a lot more sense now. It honestly does. It makes a lot of sense. I don't blame you either. I would hate women like me too.
Actually, you're the most gracious loser I've ever seen.
I know, I am. I'm the most gracious-based, loser who's obviously turned dick like you down 1,000,007 times, and that's why you're triggered. Yeah,
Not
I
even
get
in my
it.
night. Actually, not even in.
Every time I try
Oh,
redirecting,
no,
I
you're
fail.
so cute. You're
This
so
one from last question of the night. Stay Curious says, thanks for being such a great mod, James. Thanks, Stay Curious. We appreciate your kind words. We are going to wrap up with that. I want to say, folks, if you haven't subscribed yet, do subscribe. We have many more juicy debates coming up here at Modern Day Debate, as we are a neutral platform hosting debates on science, religion, and politics. I'm going to share some of our philosophy about the channel in the post-credit scene for a few minutes. So stick around, as I'll be back in just a few minutes to let you know more about Modern Day Debate, why we are willing to host virtually anybody and nearly every topic. So with that, thank you very much to our speakers, Ashley, Zherka, and Playing with Fire. It's been a true pleasure.
Make America great again.
Thank you for that. We'll be back in a moment.
Yo, Zherka, I'm pretty sure it is your brother. Is it? It's the username. Shit, I don't know if you want me saying this publicly, but it starts with Arian.
I think we're
And
backstage
he looks like
Gotta
you.
Screenshot it. Send me the screenshot.
He looks
Wait,
exactly.
is the debate over? We're supposed to
James,
leave?
thank you. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it's over. I'm
Pleasure.
still live on my channel, by the way, but it's over on James's channel. But he looks very much like you. Like he sent me photos. This dude.
I just
Let's
wanted to
all go
tell
on
James
Alex
really
since
quick.
I owe you.
So,
Ashley, come to
sorry about
Alex's
you
channel.
guys.
Stay-
James, thank you. Tonight.
My pleasure.
Debate.
Hey, Ashley,
Appreciate
come
you.
to
Thank
Alex's channel.
No, come to my channel.
I'm
you
taking
stupid
off.
Oh yeah, we can do it.
bitch.
We can do both. We can do
We-
both. Add
Shut the fuck
Alex,
up.
'cause I feel like you're a hacker.
You guys are both welcome if you want to come on for a bit.
Yeah, send me the link. I owe
No,
you.
I have my own stream going. Fuck
So
you,
do
Zherka.
both.
You're
We can have a
fucking piece
three-way
of shit.
conversation. We can
Yeah,
have
we
a
can
post
have a
debate.
three-way. I bet, you fucking weirdo.
Ashley, you can also co-stream if you want.
Duet.
You can dual stream it if you want. That's what I'm doing
I
right
don't
now.
know. Okay, listen, Alex. So you shut up, Zherka. But Alex, you know that like I have my laptop issues. I just ordered my laptop. It's actually being overnight delivered. It'll be here tomorrow. So I'm legitimately still on my broken ass cell phone, and I don't know
What do
how
you
to
do for a
do it
living,
or make
Ashley?
that happen.
Ashley, what do you do for a living?
We're still live, I think, on Alex's stream.
Yeah, we're
I'm
still
not-
we're still live on mine.
Yeah, I'm not talking about my fucking. I make over $30 an hour. Don't worry about it. Like I'm done.
All right, but I was wondering, is it politics? Did you do politics?
No, I don't do. I did work in politics for a while, actually. Yes.
You worked
Honestly, I
for
did.
Democrats, didn't you?
No, actually, Republicans. You piece of shit. That's what I'm
What?
saying. You don't
No, you
fucking know
didn't.
me. You don't even know me.
How did, so
Alex
you're like
knows
Hunter,
me.
you betrayed us?
No, I didn't betray you. You're just fucking stupid.
Are you
come
voting
into
for
this
Trump?
shit unprepared, and I don't
Are you-
like it.
Ashley, are
I
you voting for
watched
Trump?
like 3 hours of you talking
Are
about
you
the
voting for my
dumbest
nigga
shit
Trump?
Before I went in on this debate, you were so like not prepared. It fucking pisses me off. So of course I'm gonna sit here and talk shit to you, bro.
You
Like,
could have
it's annoying. We probably agree. In fact, I saw a lot of stuff that you've said that I do agree with.
like
But you never brought it up because you're a poor debater.
come to Alex's channel.
I have my own fucking channel, and I'll go to that. And I already scheduled it ahead of
You
time.
can use us. You
Told
can
Alex
use us for
about
your
it, so
channel.
it's not bad
You
faith.
can use us for your
I
channel.
am.
You can use us for your channel.
Yeah, I know what I could do.
You're
Like,
actually not coming? Yikes.
Okay, that the meeting has ended. Yeah, that was interesting. I dropped Zherka the link. I'll stay on for like another 10, 15 minutes, I guess. Let me get a drink. The food is ready? The food is what? In the process of getting ready. Okay. Yeah. How long do you think it'll take? 30 minutes. 30 minutes? Oh, dude, it's like 10:30. I gotta eat. I'm sorry, I fell asleep. Nice. Just do the steak then, if it's faster. And the bacon. All right. Anyway, I dropped Zherka the link, so let's see. I guess I was gonna tell him that he'd come on by himself if he wants to. Okay. Now let me text him. Here's the link. All right. Anyway, that was interesting. I guess I have like 20 minutes till my food is done, so I can stay on for a little bit. Trend is treating you well. No, I don't take any Trend. I take therapeutic dose of testosterone, not actually big doses, and I take a little bit of Deca. I couldn't date a leftist, false grape, and voting for raising my taxes. No thanks. I think that the vast majority of leftists don't want to raise taxes on middle class and even upper middle. They want to only raise taxes on the rich. Okay, what other questions? Alex, when is Zherka versus Nina debate? You know, that's what we really need. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Like, me and Zherka are cool, but he was just like ghosting on me for like a month or so. But yeah, maybe he'll jump on. Here's the link. Hang on, actually, I'm gonna drop the link now. Although I don't know if Zherka got the memo. I'll message him again. No, I don't have a new roommate. This is the roommate I was living with for a while. I feel like I was like trying to like redirect the conversation so many times and like make it like back on track. But I feel like I accomplished the goal of the initial debate proposition, which is like, are men more wimpy? I think Hunter was agreeing that yes, they are more wimpy. So I feel like that was my intentional goal. So after that, it's like there's not much I could do. Any more game or value pod appearances? Yeah, actually, there's what's it called? His name Diego. Let me see what the fuck his name is. Risk God. This dude Diego Day. He agreed to come on, so we're just setting it up now. That's one that you guys really wanted. Let's bring Ashley on. Hey, I don't know.
Hey, what up?
Memo though that you're going to be coming on.
Do what?
You're muted also. You're muted right now. We can't hear you.
I'm talking. Can you hear me?
No audio. Oh, wait. Actually, it could be on my end. Hang on. It's on my end because I have my speakers changed. Hang on. My bad.
Gotcha.
Okay. It should be good now. Say something.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's good now. Yeah,
okay,
I was
cool. I was like, oh, I don't know. Dude. Oh. Like, I was prepared, but like, obviously I have a lot going on right now. I get it. I don't want to get back into that because, cringe. But I'm just saying, like, he's so fucking bad faith. Like, but here's the main thing I want to talk about, Alex, is like, so my new laptop's coming in tomorrow. How can I dual stream this though from my fucking phone? Because I already have a live stream scheduled. Like,
I don't know how to do it from the phone. I've never done it.
I'm gonna have to do my laptop, aren't I? All
Alex,
right, guys. I might just like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to do. I don't know. Like,
I'm not gonna be going for a while. I'm just gonna be going until my food is ready. So in 20 minutes, I'll sign off.
Okay, well then I'll go live after that. Like,
you can go. I mean, feel free to go live whenever. But yeah, I'm just saying.
No, I know, but I want to be where the action's at. Obviously, you know what I mean. Like, I did kind of get a few unfair like things thrown at me tonight. It was obviously in the beginning, like Hunter Avallone versus, John Zherka. So that was annoying, but like I just kept going with it. The points I brought up never like got brought really into full focus or the frontal like part of the debate. So I don't feel like anyone ever actually completely or at all acknowledged the points that I was bringing up. So that was irritating.
We can go through them right now, but yeah, I feel like you gotta like with when you're debating Zherka, you gotta like not take the bait, basically.
I know, but how annoying is that though? Because it's not good faith. That's what I'm saying. Like, he comes in and he's admitted this. Like, you know me, Alex. You know that I'm gonna watch. You know me, just like I did the first time I quote unquote met you online. I watched hours of your content, right? Like, I'm going to watch people's fucking content. Like, I'm going to see what they're about. And what I saw about like fucking Zherka is that he's self-admittedly bad faith. Like, he says it. He's like, yes, I say things just for the fucking purpose of triggering people, being polarizing and getting the likes, clicks, attention, etc. So like, how do you ignore that shit if it's a real fucking debate? That's what I need to learn. Because like, I actually feel like Hunter did a really good job. He did a really good job. I was glad he was my partner tonight. Because like, I mean, you did a good job too, but unfortunately or fortunately, whatever, for you were on Zherka's side. But I'm just saying that like, honestly, Hunter did a good job as far as an example of somebody that can sit there and not get triggered, stay calm, and then just argue the arguments and not the fucking outrageous bullshit somebody's saying. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to stay calm under a stressful situation. The way that I don't know, I'm just pretty good at it, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a skill.
It was just irritating and cringe. I was like, dude,
what were the main arguments you wanted to go through that you feel like you didn't get a chance to go through?
Oh, the things that the main arguments about the whole thing was, let me pull it back up, but it was like my opening statement and nobody ever even touched on any of it. I said, I believe masculinity nowadays. Sorry, excuse me. I believe masculinity nowadays is defined by women. I do. I think it's defined mainly by women, and I can get into that. I'll be happy to argue that. Arguably, if a man were to be his natural self, he'd be what? Sexual, observant, aggressive, decisive, physically strong, competitive, making good money, etc. The same traits displayed by a female are now considered empowering, right? So then, like, how do we define? And then I went in to say, like, the way that masculinity is actually defined, if you look it up, is considered to be a characteristic of men or marked by having more qualities, features, etc., traditionally associated with men. So that's my whole argument is like, I don't necessarily think men are less masculine or more wussy. I think that the bar has been lowered, higher, whatever you want to call it, depending on what side you fall on. But I do think that social dynamics have changed and that the expectations from each sex are now different.
Masculine is defined by culture, and women are 50% of the culture. So women do play a massive role in the culture.
It's not defined by culture. It's
well,
not.
I think it definitely
it's
is.
Not.
It
That's what I'm saying. There is no actual definition of what is masculinity versus what is femininity. Like the true definition is just like those traditional traits that have been put onto. But that's what I'm saying is weird.
Well, when you say it's defined by women, you mean all women, right? Or just like select group?
What's defined by women? I'm sorry.
You said masculinity is defined by women. So are you talking about all the women out there?
I believe that according to men that have this okay, good question. Thank you. So according to the men that now actually have somewhat of an issue with what is going on as far as how they feel emasculated or they feel like they are not quite being masculine enough, et cetera, I think that what they're basing that off of is defined by women. Yes.
Okay, but is it like a small group of women or is it like all women?
Oh, I think that societally.
Okay, well, so if it's defined by all women, which is like 100 million or 300
I'm just
million.
saying societally.
Right, it's defined by a whole group of women who don't know each other, right? They're not talking directly, so therefore it is culture, right?
Yeah, I said it. I think societally, culturally, whatever you want to say. Yeah.
Okay, because you disagree with me when I said it's defined by culture.
No, I didn't.
Yep.
In what part? Okay.
You might have just misspoke, but I was like, well, yeah, society's masculinity is defined by culture. You're like, no, it's not.
No, Alex, I said it was cultural. I said it was societal. I said we were arguing whether or not it was biological versus evolutional. So I had made the mistake by saying that it was just completely, I was saying that like as the human race, we have evolved, right? Now you can evolve in so many ways. And then I talked about cultural evolution. So if that's what you're saying, like, I don't see how I would have agreed with that because that's my entire point. It was in my opening statement.
I think you just honestly misspoke. I mean, the whole chat is saying it, but I think you just misspoke. I think you meant
then it must have been a misspoke. I'm so sorry about that. I'll go back and clip it and like I'll look and see what I said. But that was literally my entire point. So
Okay.
if I did misspeak, it was an
All good.
accident.
All good. It's not a big deal.
Oh,
So
I
yeah,
know. I'm just.
so going back to the reason I took issue with the argument about the biological evolution is that by evolution, like on a biological level, it takes like tens of thousands of years to play out. Like meaning like biologically, like in terms of our DNA, we're exactly the same as our parents and as their grandparents. So the difference is in terms of the influences we have, cultural, diet, stuff like that. So that's why I also was disagreeing with that, because just people have this mischaracterization. Evolution works like really rapidly, but it takes like over tens of thousands of years to play out. It's very slow. It's a very slow process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you that it is a very slow process. And what I would argue with is that we are coming up on an era where things are starting to come at the face of one of those fucking changes. It's every 120 to 80 years that we start to evolve and change. Like we'd honestly, Alex, have to go back and look at what actually entails. I don't know. I'm just saying if you
But
look at
but it seems like you kind of agree with the proposition is that men today are a little bit more wimpy than they used to be.
absolutely, Hunter and I both did from the very get-go of the conversation.
Yeah, that's what
And
I
we
think.
also prefaced the entire debate by saying, though, that, and even James did, which is that whether it's a big yes or a big no, it's still going to go into the nuances of the why and why we think that. And that's kind of more of where I was coming at this entire debate and
Well,
idea from.
that's why like the initial
And I agree with you.
The initial debate setup wasn't ideal
It never
because
is.
all sides. Well, no, but in this one, we all agree on the debate proposition. So it's you're arguing almost for the sake of arguing and nitpicking, right? But if you agree
No,
that
not really.
if you agree that men today are a bit wimpier than they used to be, then we don't have a disagreement.
I don't agree on that. Okay, here's why is because
You just said you do, though.
Right, you're right. I did. The reason why that I think a lot of people perceive men to be quote unquote wimpier than they used to be is because of an underlying problem or issue or evolution, is what I'm trying to say. And so I think that whenever you go into a debate like this and you're like, well, men nowadays are just more wimpy, like it gives this kind of overall message. It's sending this message out there that like that's a bad thing, and the reason why is because woman bad, man good. And I think that we need to go into the nuances and the reasons behind why this is so, and then more so further go into like, if this is why it's so, then how do we correct it rather than just combat it and make the problem worse? That's kind of where I was coming from, Alex.
But I'm like a little bit confused, honestly. Like, do you
Okay.
think that men are wimpier today than they used to be, or no?
I guess no. When you asked me the question,
Okay.
you asked me how many men have I met up with in the last 4 to 5 years that I consider to be more feminine. You didn't say wimpy. You said feminine.
No, but I asked you like 2 minutes ago. Do you so you agree that
Right.
And you said yes.
Okay, thank you for calling me out on specifics here.
Well, no, I'm not calling you out. I'm just trying to figure out what your position on this is.
Okay, so I'll tell you. So my position is honestly, I don't know what defines wimpy exactly. I think we would have to get it.
Lack of courage, lack of confidence, lack of bravery. That's kind of the definition I saw on Webster's whatever dictionary.
Again, I think that we would have to go back to why do we consider why are we considering, okay, so if you go back to like say 1930s, 1940s, 50s, etc., you could easily say that more women were not allowed to do a lot of things, right? And like we were more suppressed, so that basically our only way to get out of our and historically so I think up until maybe the 50s or so it started to change, but like as women our only way to get out of our father's house was to marry, right? We married up and we married somebody who was able to provide and blah 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 blah, all these things that are considered quote unquote masculine traits. My whole point is that I don't necessarily think that men are becoming less masculine or more wimpy. I think it's the fact that as a society, we have evolved to the point that women can do a lot of these things for themselves, and the bar or the standard is being raised. So then what is, I don't understand, like, as far as like, now if I were a woman with no college education, no career, no way to support myself, then sure, maybe I would be looking back to that 1920s to 1950s 60s kind of version of a man. What let's define, like, what are we talking about? Because like you're saying they become more wimpy, like I'm just not exactly sure. Like, is it, are we dating and it's okay that I make more money than him?
No, we're not talking about that. Okay, so first of all, it's
That's
not,
where I'm confused.
the two things are not mutually exclusive. So it can be true that men used to be repressed in the 30s, and that men used to be more masculine than then. Those are not in any way mutually exclusive. So when I say wimp here, again, going to the what Merriam-Webster's,
I just don't like that. Yeah.
Okay, but it's a lack of bravery, lack of courage, lack of assertiveness, right? Like that's what it is. And I think that like you'd be hard pressed to argue that we're just as courageous and assertive as men used to be. I don't think that's the case for a variety of reasons.
I think the same for women. I don't think that anybody is, because we live in a culture and a society that's been more softened and more like, look, like I can Uber my fucking like dinner to my house. Like, we don't have to go out there. Like, you guys, not you guys, sorry, Alex, but like a lot of people in the manosphere like to say, like, we go back to like, oh, well, in hunter-gatherer times, we did this, and that. And it's like, yeah, but we have fucking Uber Eats now. Like,
But
how do we set the bar differently, though? Like,
but that could be true. Well, we're talking about the difference between prescription and description, right? We have to agree on description before we can get into the prescription. So it could be true that women are wimpier as well, right? But that doesn't change whether men are wimpier or not. So are you still
okay? Then what's the point? If society as a whole is wimpier,
because
then why are we focusing on
because the
one gender over
consequences
the other?
because the consequences for men being wimpier are much more dire than for women, right?
Oh, really? Is that why? Okay, so let's get into that then.
A wimpy woman could have a lot of success in the dating marketplace. A wimpy man is not going to have
okay,
success.
so just dating then. So we're just talking about dating. This is what I'm saying. Like, let's define the parameters here. So we're talking about now just dating. Yes, a wimpy woman definitely has more success in the dating market than a wimpy man.
So
is that the point of tonight? Okay, cool. Debate over. I didn't realize that was the point. I thought it was just like
dating is very important to your overall happiness. Like, some people commit suicide because they can't get partners. So dating is a crucial part.
Well, they also commit suicide because they can't get high-paying jobs. They can't support their children. They can't support their lifestyle. So are you saying that inherently everything goes back to a man just wanting sex and wanting to be like relate in a relationship and dominant?
No, I understand.
Well, that's what it sounds like. So I'm just confused.
I'm just saying it's a big thing.
Well, yeah, it's a big thing. I mean,
yeah, that's the whole point I'm making. So yeah. So if it's a big thing and men are wimpier when it comes to dating, and the consequences for men are pretty bad to be wimpy dating, therefore it's an issue.
Yeah. So that was the whole point of the argument.
Yeah.
Okay, then I guess you win. Good job, bro.
Well, I'm not even trying to like necessarily like dunk on you or win. I'm just like trying
to
I
mean, you didn't
position.
On me. I think we're good, but I'm just saying, like, that's not the way I perceived the argument or debate tonight.
Well, how did you perceive it?
Do what?
How did you perceive it?
Well, that's the thing, and that's what I was trying to bring up from the very beginning, is that are men wimpier or less masculine nowadays than they used to be, and why? I'm just saying, like, I don't think that it has to go all the way back to like whether or not we're just talking about picking up or dating. I think it's a societal thing, and that's why I brought up what I said. Like, I think that if you're going to look at the way humans evolve over the course of hundreds of thousands of years and why they evolved to be the way they evolve, and the reason why I brought up biological evolution to you is because you keep talking about testosterone levels and things like that lowering, right?
But they're not the same thing. But you can you can have lower.
So then I guess this is where our disagreement on what tonight's debate was about, because I literally interpreted it as why are men quote unquote wimpier, less masculine than they used to be. I didn't consider it.
The testosterone thing was just one reference point. It's obviously
Well, but it went on for like 5 years. That became like a huge.
No,
part of
we
the
talked about it for
conversation.
10 minutes, and that's largely because Hunter was disagreeing with me about that simple point.
No, it's not. It's largely because it triggered like a debate between you and Zherka, which then Avallone was trying to counteract and be like, okay, like it's because Hunter knew that that was something that was going to come up in this debate, and he was prepared to like counteract why that number of testosterone, like why testosterone levels lowering doesn't actually have much to do with the debate. That's why he conceded from the very beginning when he said like, yeah, I know, I agree with you that like they have been, blah, 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 and this is why. That should have been the point where everybody moved on.
No, because he acknowledged that testosterone is tied into confidence and assertiveness. So if it is tied
those are the points that you picked up from it. Isn't it interesting to see that when we watch something like this, we can all pick up our own points that we got from the debate? That's not what I got from it.
I guess, Chad, you can fact check me on that, but I believe, yeah, he said that, what's it called?
No, I'm not saying he didn't say that.
It is tied into, or at least he conceded to that. So if we define wimpiness as a lack of confidence and assertiveness and bravery, and testosterone is directly tied into confidence and assertiveness, then therefore it very much matters.
Okay, again, I'm not saying it matters or doesn't matter. I actually agree about the testosterone levels. I just like to argue, right? Like,
I know you do.
No, I mean, you do too. It's why we're invited on these debate panels.
I actually don't like to argue just to argue. I'm pretty chill. Like, I don't need to argue. I can just have a discussion and whatnot.
Okay, cool. Like, well, we're having a discussion then. So what I'm saying about that is that I thought that the premise behind tonight's debate didn't really necessarily I didn't want it to be focused on testosterone levels lowering or raising, which was the first point that you brought up. And it did take up quite a bit of the debate. I felt like that wasn't necessarily relevant to the entire like premise behind are men wimpier, simpier?
But do you see now how it is relevant after I've explained it?
I admitted to how it was relevant when you did explain it. I just think it's a small percentage of why it's relevant. Like, I don't think that is like the end all be all of the discussion or the disagreement. That's all.
But even if it's like 15%, then by default it matters, because if it's just
it matters. I never said it didn't matter. When did I say it didn't matter?
No, but we're not saying that men are significantly wimpier. That wasn't the proposition. It's just, are men wimpier? Even if men are wimpier by 5%, that's enough to show that they're wimpier.
Okay,
and
so
if testosterone matters 15%, then that accomplishes that goal.
You're doing exactly what any good debater does and what I did earlier, which is like, let's define the parameters of this. So what you're saying now is like, well, by default, I can win by saying, even though it's 15%, it still matters and this is still wide. No, it's a debate. And the thing about are men wimpier or, less masculine, etc., is that this is entire. I'm going to pull out an Alex statistic from my ass here and say 90% that this is something that's completely anecdotal and that we can all just say like, here's my opinion of are men, blah, 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 and why. And this is why, right? And you do that all the time. I love that about you and I hate that about you.
Well, the reason I brought up testosterone is because I didn't want it to be just anecdotal. That's an objective data point. So that's why I brought it up, right?
Objective? I mean, there's so little data about that. So like, to be honest, we didn't even really start keeping track of like testosterone levels and how they lower and raise until like the 1950s, but really until the 1980s, right? Like, we didn't actually have statistical databases talking or looking at how this
works.
Sure, I
mean, even in the 80s, it's been going down since the 80s.
And then but how do you know then before that it wasn't? That's what I'm saying. We don't have enough data. Like, if you look at the 80s, like, when were you born, Alex? I was born 85. I'm assuming you were born 86. 87, 90. There you go. So I was born in 85. You were born in 90. Like, so we're talking about databases that have really only been monitored since like 1985 or 1980. Like, give me a break. Like, these people are still so from what I read when I looked up these stats is that most men who are over the age of 30, yes, that their levels are slowly or rapidly declining. And we don't exactly know why. But all we do know is that this is a fact. We don't know why. But here again, like we don't. What?
I'm just confused because you're saying we do know it, but then you're saying we don't know it. So
we
either
do know that they're declining, but
Okay.
we don't know why.
Okay, well, but I'm not talking about the why. I'm just talking about descriptively that's happening.
Right. But what I'm talking about is that we don't even have databases that are really relevant until 1980, Alex.
So then are you saying that, so why are you bringing it
I'm
up?
saying that, like, okay, why I'm bringing that up.
Either you believe it's happening or you don't, or you're saying that there's something.
No, I believe it's happening.
Okay, so then it doesn't matter.
But we don't know. Okay, but we don't know what anything was before 1980. We don't have much of a trend. If I'm born in 85 and you're born in 90, and we're both in our 30s, and testosterone levels aren't really like said to be like declining or whatever until you're at least what, late 20s to early 30s. I mean, that's when people start like really looking into this and stuff. All I'm saying, the reason I bring it up is like, how do we know like that this is a relevant thing? Like we don't even have data before this.
What's your opinion? Do you think testosterone levels were higher in the 30s before we had measurement, or they're higher now? What do you think? Just what's your opinion?
I'm not exactly sure, to be quite honest with you. I think that what Hunter said about how we did have a lot more war and a lot more things going on back then, like jobs. He was talking about jobs specifically, like how, I mean, think about, you had the guys on the Empire State Building that were building it, that were sitting on raffling, like, or, that without, gear on. Like, yes, I think that perhaps that's a play or a player into why. Also the diet, blah, blah, blah. But here's my issue with it, Alex, is that how do we know what it's going to be like in another 20 or 30 years when we don't have data that comes from that far back, is what I'm saying. If we go into another world war, for instance.
We never know what's going to happen in the future, right? That's not how science works. It's not like a magic.
Right, but if you only have a limited amount of data, Alex, how can you sit there and say that you can predict
because with everything in life we have limited data, right? Like there's no situation where we have perfect data. We are limited in a lot of ways, but we have to use our our data processing abilities, right? And look at the trends. And if we see that on average the testosterone levels keep going down and down and down, I think it's a pretty safe assumption to assume that they're going to keep going down rather than they keep going up.
Okay, so if you want to go on that one, then you've got to go to every fucking research study that's ever been. Is there anything that you disagree with on the trend of the data?
In terms of what? In terms of testosterone?
Anything. No, not just testosterone. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're talking about something that hasn't even started being recorded until roughly 1980, right? Roughly. And then you're saying, like, from...
I feel like you're just arguing for the sake of arguing. I think you definitely agree with me.
I'm really not. I really don't think that
you said that probably testosterone levels are going low.
Do what?
You said that you think that testosterone levels are probably going down. So, like, I don't know why.
According to the data that we have, I'm just saying the data we have, according to how old men are and what the age is when testosterone levels start naturally decreasing anyway, I just don't think that it's incredibly, I don't think it's the fucking like smoking gun of evidence of masculinity decreasing. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm not saying it's a smoking gun. I'm just saying there's a strong correlation there.
Based on the data we have. That's not very old. Yes. Yeah.
We have about 20.
We got into that tangent.
45 years of data.
Right. And like, okay. All right.
Okay. I guess my question would be, how many years of data would you need to see for you to be convinced?
Probably 100 years of data, because you're looking at the life cycle of a human being. The life cycle of a human being, and when we started actively testing for it. Now, 1980 is when we started actively testing for it, but it hasn't actually become incredibly common until about 2008 to 2011. So the data's just not there, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
I don't think that it's I don't think it's a great resource to use when you're debating whether or not, men have become wimpier or not. But I didn't get a chance to say any of this. That's all I'm saying.
But you agree that men have become wimpier.
No, I don't agree to that. No, I'm saying that, no, I don't know based on, where are you getting that I agree to that? Because you said that like the last 4 or 5 years, the guys that have contacted me have like.
No, I'm not even going off that. I'm just saying that you said that multiple times, that you do agree with that proposition.
No, I didn't. Like, in what way? Like,
so
that they're.
Yeah, well, okay, so you don't agree that men have become wimpier?
I don't actually know. I agree that.
Well, if you have to take a guess, just like, which one do you think is more probable? Like, you have to bet $1,000. Which one do you bet on?
Okay, I get what you're saying now. I get what you're saying. So if men have become less masculine or more wimpy, I guess that if I agree with that, I would have to say that the reasons why I agree with it are different than the reasons why you guys might agree with it. That's what I'm saying.
Sure, but that would be irrelevant because we still agree, right? It doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was trying to say when we went into the debate in the first place, and you guys were all trying to say that. And that's why Hunter, and I'm glad he was on the same page as me, because Hunter and I both were just like, okay, let's just agree. Yeah, they've become more soy. Right now, then let's get into the why. Because if you just debate whether or not they have or they haven't, you're going to go over and over and over in circles, and you're never going to get to any kind of reason or any kind of resolution. Rather, nobody's going to have a W or an L.
Well, no, but we have to agree on the descriptive issue before we can talk about the prescriptive, right? So if we don't agree, if one side thinks that there's no issue,
I get it, Alex. I understand how debates work. I'm sorry that I got a little lost there for a second. Okay, so like 50 years ago, sure, maybe men were a little bit more quote unquote toxic masculine or like whatever. Again, you can reference back to the points that I made during the debate.
Are you saying you agree with the idea that men are wimpier, or you just disagree with my reasons for why?
No, I said from the beginning, actually, and I honestly totally forgot because we went off on another tangent. But from the beginning, from the debate, I agreed to myself. Like, I was going to just say, sure, men are less masculine. They are wimpier now. So, yes, I'll agree with you that men are wimpier now. Let's go into why. Let's go into what.
I love you, but you do realize you've changed your answer on this like 10 times.
I do realize that. No, I really do.
Yes, no. You have to pick one at some point.
In the actual debate, I didn't, though.
But you literally like 5 minutes ago said you don't.
I know, but that's because I'm actually talking. I'm actually able to speak now freely and give my actual opinions rather than being cut off or trying to just be on some big debate panel where thousands of people are watching versus talking to you. Like, the truth is, I don't know that I actually truly really believe that men are bigger pussies now than they were back in the day. My whole thing is that the bar or the level or the meter that we measure this by has changed, right? It's changed. And social media, the internet, etc., it's also added an entirely new nuance into the whole thing. I'm just speaking candidly with you. But yes, if we're going back to just the debate, I went along with the thing. I was like, sure, let's say men are bigger pussies now. Then why? Because when you're going into a big debate like that, Alex, you know already that, like, I would assume that you have to say, like, okay, sure. Like, if it's really just like, are men bigger simps now than they used to be? Well, we could go into that for fucking years. We could all
have like no idea what your position is. Like, it keeps like flip-flopping. So I'm still confused whether you think men are.
All right. I'm trying to explain it, Alex. I think that if you're going into a big debate like that, just like Hunter Avallone did, I decided to take the standpoints of, sure, men are bigger simps now. They're bigger wusses or pussies or whatever, right? Because if we're going to, because we've all watched these debates and we know that if they're going to compare it to this certain criteria or level of what, measures a man's masculinity, then yeah, we can say that they're not. Just like you brought up testosterone levels. These are the things, sure, we can all agree on. But the point is to move past that. These are debates that are so fucking like, it's like you want to move on. Even James said it in the beginning when he was like, I don't know exactly what your stances are or what your takes are, but I'm going to just put this out there. You guys can define the parameters for yourself. That's all I was doing, was trying to define the parameters.
Okay, but so where do you stand right now at this moment? Like, I still don't know what your position is. Like,
I guess that, like, I guess I don't know either, because was I a fucking single female in 1950? You're the one that keeps bringing it back to picking up chicks and like whether or not you could get girls. I don't know. I don't know.
Because you've said, like, during this discussion, not even like the panel, like during this time for the last 20 minutes, you said yes, you agree, or no, you disagree multiple times. So I still have like no idea what your actual position is, because it just keeps going back and forth. Either you agree that men are wimpier, or you don't agree, right? It can't be both.
I can see why people think that men could be wimpier. And I could see why there is I don't know. God, that's what I'm telling you, Alex. This is such a fucking nuanced question. It's so hard to answer because there's so much that goes into it. What are we considering? Like, I just, compared to when are men wimpier?
Compared to 50 years ago.
And then wimpier meaning...
lacking courage, lacking assertiveness, lacking bravery.
God, do you not see how fucking nuanced that is?
It's really not. It's a yes or no question. It's yes, I do, or no, I don't. You can have your reasons why.
I understand I can have my reasons why. And I did during the actual debate. I did say that, like, sure, men are wimpier now compared to then. And this is why. But now talking to you, I'm saying, like, I don't know that I necessarily like that lingo, and I don't know that I necessarily agree with it, to be honest. But okay, like, if you define bravery and assertiveness, and I mean, like, I guess sure, men are wimpier now with that. So then moving on, again, I concede, moving on, men are wimps. Now what? Like,
there's not an after. That's the basic.
That
was the whole debate proposition that we're disagreeing.
No, it really wasn't, actually. That's what I just explained to you. James himself said, like, I know that there's several nuances to this, and I know that there's going to be a yes or a no stand, which is exactly why Hunter Avallone and I both, like, we didn't even talk ahead of time, and we both came to the same conclusion. Like, okay, yeah, they're going to say that, like, sure, men are wimpier than they were, however when, but why? And the reason of why is because, like, you're going to beat yourself into a fucking... You're going to beat yourself in the head over and over again until there's no answer. Like, if you can actually get to a point that you can debate, then great, right? I don't think that saying, like, are men wimpier now, or are they not? I don't think that in and of itself is a great, like, debate topic. I think it gets more into the why. Because...
They're
like
both,
you said, if you want to bring up testosterone levels and, like, the decreasing testosterone levels, sure. Which, again, I have an issue with because we don't have a shit ton of data for a long, long fucking time showing why. And the reason why that's important is because people are only adults for a certain amount of time. Testosterone levels being at a certain peak and then lowering solely has to do with age and where you're at with that. So if we didn't really start taking or keeping track of this until or if we didn't even start checking for this until 1980, and then actually start keeping, like, stats on this until 2008 to 2011, I just don't see how that's super relevant. But I get it.
I'm still not quite sure what your position is, but okay, let's just move past it.
My position is that, like, what do you mean?
Your position, like, I don't know if you're, like, fucking with me, but your position seems to be, like, changing, like, like, live on air, like, whether it's like you do think it matters, you don't think it matters. So I don't know if we're making any progress on that, so we can move on into, like, something else. If there's anything else you want to discuss, I was going to go eat pretty soon, but we can talk about one more thing.
No, go ahead, go eat. You're good. I was just saying that, like, I was asked to go on this debate. I assumed ahead of time that, like, you know, it probably would not have to do with... I mean, that's obviously an opinion-based question, right? These are all going to be anecdotal. That's what I thought going into this. Like, this is going to be a completely anecdotal argument or debate. The only thing or the only stats or facts that anybody could bring up to support whether or not they thought men are less, which I was thinking masculine, but I guess wimpy, whether men are wimpier now than they were before, would probably be exactly what you did, Alex, which I commend you for, because I figured that's what you would go for, which is the testosterone levels and the data that we do have supporting that. So going off of all of that, I decided from then that my answer would be like, okay, sure, men are wimpier now, right? And so from there, I developed my argument, which was something that no one ever touched base on, and we still aren't, that the bar has changed, and that if men feel this way, now this is where we're going to go anecdotal. My anecdotal experience being in the manosphere, thanks to you and everybody here, like, is that men feel like they are being slighted and that they're not as competent as they used to be. And I'm not talking about you personally, Alex, because I actually don't feel that way about you, but a lot of men and content that I've seen. And so from going from there, I can say that, well, the research that I looked into prior to this debate is that, women are earning the same or out earning a lot of men. Like, women have statistically across the United States more college degrees, higher paying jobs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that if you go back to the 1950 male, you know, he's looking at getting a wife who has no education compared to his, for the most part, doesn't make as much money as he does. And then let's not get into market values of houses, the economics and all that, the economy and all that. But like, I'm just saying, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many factors that go into this debate. And you keep saying that I'm not locking down a position, but I really fucking am. I'm just trying to get like the nitty gritty of it. Like, it's such a fucking broad thing. Like, are men pussies now versus, like, what are we basing this off of?
Okay, anyway, we're making no progress. I still have no idea what your position is on that, but I don't think we're going to make any progress.
My position is, if they are, let's look at why. That's my position.
That's not a position. They are, that's the answer to the question. That's like, that's
okay, Alex, they are. They're bigger pussies. So why?
Okay.
Why are they bigger pussies?
Well, that's a whole topic in of itself. But okay, so then we do.
No,
agree.
that was the whole topic of the fucking debate tonight.
No, it wasn't. It was called "Are Men Wimpier Today?" That was.
Yeah, I know, and it never.
It wasn't why men are wimpier. It was are men wimpier.
But the whole thing is that is a completely anecdotal thing. That's opinion. That's an opinion-based argument, which is why Hunter Avallone went in with the opinion that he did and that I did, where we were like, okay, let's immediately just say, sure, men are wimpier now. Let's go into why. Because that argument, that debate in and of itself is not, there's no way you can argue that. That's an opinion. Well, there's not actual measurable evidence.
But it seems like now you're saying you agree that men are wimpier, so I still don't understand what we were discussing.
Alex, anyway, are you doing this on purpose to me?
No, I'm really not.
I said that I will concede to say that because I think that in and of itself, the question of the debate topic it's clickbait. And I think that I think that it's something to just like try to get. You're trying to debate something that's never going to be debated. Now, if you watch a lot of Alex, if you watch a lot of James's content on Modern Day Debate, he's had several debates on whether or not men are wimpy or not. I've been on a couple of them. I've seen how this goes. So then
I want to wrap up. This is going for way too long.
Right.
I want to eat. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
All right. Good night.
All right. Take care. Still don't really know what her position is on this, but all right, cool. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I guess Zherka's not responding. Yeah, I messaged him, but yeah. Oh, James messaged him too. Yeah, maybe he just forgot about it, whatever. All right, guys, appreciate y'all. We got some dope ass fucking streams coming up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Appreciate y'all and take it easy.